Yeah, I gotta. Yeah, you're not upskirting.
Wait, are you super
anybody.
zoomed out on your camera, or is there's what is your camera setup? I'm
It's
bamboozled. Interview
all
questions for old
it's
girls. Do you
all
have it
the
all the way zoomed
way. It's
out?
all the way
Oh my gosh! So wait, if
minus.
I move my arms close to your camera, do I have like a super noodly infinite sized tube arm? Super noodly infinite sized tube arm. Let's go. Is what I've always
Yeah, wait. You
dreamed
always
of.
kind of have like a not super zoomed. Should we just do it like this? The interview.
I just have my camera a little bit distant, and I just reach out to grab it. I don't know. I'm a dork. Don't worry
Do you
about
have it
it.
on standard zoom, like where the line is?
I do. Yeah, it's on standard zoom. Sometimes I even have it zoomed in, and I have the camera secretly like 4 meters in the distance.
Yeah, I just
Which makes it really awkward to hug the camera. I have to zoom it in to do that.
yeah, I think that's why
Yeah.
I keep it close. Thank you, Kaine. I hope you're all doing well. My guest today. Oh, your girlfriend's over. Have fun. That sounds nice. Yeah, get lunch and lurk. I love you. Thank you so much for the raid. I'm going to be doing an interview today. Exclamation point
Wait, with
guest. With you!
Oh no!
Oh, no!
How could this happen to me? It's wild.
I'm so excited just to hang out with you.
I think you should interview Blorp. Blorp is the real streamer over here.
Who is
so.
Blorp?
This little bean. You've met Blorp before.
Oh, that's their name. I thought they were just like a
Did
tumor
you not?
coming
You
out of
didn't
your
know their
head.
name the whole time.
No.
Oh my goodness. I mean, maybe. I think Blorp controls my brain. So there is that.
They're
yeah.
so cute. I didn't know their name was Blorp.
You're
I
so
like their-
cute.
Where'd they get the glasses?
They're just really cool, and I modeled them. I don't know.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for giving us up to Kaine. Should meet Mommy Blorp. Oh, Mommy Blorp?
Oh gosh, Mommy Blorp is. Wait, have you never met Mommy Blorp? Okay, we'll have to do this. Well, this will be a special moment
Hi,
towards the
Ash.
end of the interview because it'll take me that long to find the avatar of my favorite.
Okay, that's totally
I will
fine.
ensure that you have the opportunity to meet Mommy Blorp. It's a deeply cursed model
Oh,
that
okay.
the Bondmaster made. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that at the end. So
Unfortunately, my coffee table is directly through you, so I'm going to reach through you dramatically and pull coffee out like I'm reaching into the void to acquire coffee. Oh no, coffee from old girls' organs! Delicious old girls coffee, fresh from the
That's
source.
good. What do you like in your coffee? How do you drink your coffee?
Absolutely nothing.
Just dark, just black.
Just the void. Yeah.
I like that too. I actually don't mind dark coffee. Is there a reason?
I like my coffee like I like my coffee. Black.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry at all. I love you. That's why you're here.
Ah, your laugh just got me. Okay, I'm gonna put my coffee down below my chair in a safe zone. I'll put it on the other side of you, so I'm not leaning into you to get
No,
coffee.
you can. I'll just make a horrible noise when you're penetrating my
Okay,
skull.
sounds good. Sounds good. I mean, I'm here for the horrible noise, so I appreciate it. Yeah.
What was I even gonna ask you? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, something about coffee.
You
Yeah,
want to
it
know how I
is.
liked my coffee?
Yeah,
I said
that is
coffee.
yes. I like good coffee.
Wait, I should check to see if my bot's still on because otherwise people might start counting these snorts.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
I think I'm doomed.
Wait, can they wait? What? They can't.
They can't count it here.
They
So-
can't count it.
Not here.
What is
no,
your
but my
snort
bot is still
counter
running,
at
so-
now? Like 7,000.
Nearly 15,000. They sort of slowed down a little bit after we reached 10,000.
15,000. Some of them
So
are
we've
duplicates.
had a lot of
though.
snorts that were no. They've massively undercounted. Yeah,
They massively undercounted.
they've massively
Wow.
undercounted. Yeah, it's just wild.
Wow, banana rum and vanilla coffee, Trinity. That actually sounds
Ooh,
really good.
banana coffee and vanilla. That actually does sound good. Hang on, I want that.
I want that too. So actually, before I start, I will put
Before we start, should we do intro things? Should we be like, hi, I'm this person. My pronouns are hoedowns. Oh my gosh, your butt. Hi, girls,
no,
butt.
she's bouncing like she said earlier. Now I was just getting some water so it's closer to me. So when I get water, I'll be
Sounds good. Sounds good.
penetrating
Hi.
your body with my arm, and I'm gonna have to reach
Okay,
down.
sounds
and get
good. I'll make sure to make weird noises. We can make mutual weird noises together.
them. Okay.
I'll have to do my best you impersonation though. I'll be like, oh no, my Christ.
So yeah, I'll do my intro spiel. We've already pretty much.
Okay.
My
Sounds
organs. Good. So everybody, thank you for being here. My name is O Girls, and we are here to talk to the lovely, amazing, adorable, so funny and energetic and sweet and welcoming and kind. Look at this person, whatever they're doing right now. It's like, I just can't get enough watching you do anything. Bunnyhearted, and I know you as a... Well, first of all, let me say this. During the interview, I am going to be reading the chat. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to respond to everyone's message directly. I probably will at the end if anyone has questions, or maybe we take a little break or something, and I'll be able to focus more on chat. But be aware that I am reading, and I love you guys, and thank you for being here. But I just want to focus on the conversation that we're having with Bunnyhearted. She's so much with Bunnyhearted.
It's so nice to get to hang out with you.
I know. I was just thinking that. God, I miss you. And I was thinking, like, I think we started streaming right around the same time, and I used to see you like every day around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I feel like I'd always see you. You'd stop by, or I'd stop by, and we'd get up to who knows what.
Various shigaminans yelling, "Oh no!" a lot,
Oh,
losing
no,
glasses.
But I know you as mostly a VRChat streamer and variety streamer. You've built up an amazing, loving community. I always have such a hard time. I feel like you've got this down, because when people raid you, you're like, I'm this amazing person.
I have a whole intro that I
You do have an intro. I don't do it.
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons that I do. I can do it, and I can talk through why I introduce myself.
That'd be
that
great.
Yes.
Sure.
So hi, thank you very much for the raid, oh girls.
Oh, you're welcome.
No, hi. My name is Bunnyhearted, or Bunny. You can call me Millie if you really want to. My pronouns are she and her, or they and them. I'm like a retro 90s anime styled, comfy, cozy bunny VTuber. Do my best to build a warm, welcoming, and inclusive vibes kind of space. And then I talk about like being welcomed on in and all of that dorky stuff. And I do this very intentionally for a few kind of reasons, because like building an inclusive and welcoming space, like an actively inclusive space, is one of the most important parts of streaming for me. Yeah. So one of the very first things I'm doing is I'm introducing myself with my pronouns to make sure that other trans people are like, hey, interesting. And also just to get that out of the way, because if someone's going to have an issue with trans folks, that will almost certainly bring it up for them. And so they can show themselves the door immediately, which is very convenient of them. And then I talk through the intentions of the space in the community, with it being like, ideally inclusive and welcoming and all of that stuff. So I make sure to say that every time any new community comes in, because I want them to know sort of the terms for the space, right? Like people will not read the rules. People might skim them. People might not know all of that stuff. But I want to make sure that the first thing that they hear from me is like, hey, trans is cool, inclusive space. Don't be an asshole. I love you a lot. Welcome.
Yeah, that's so smart. I love that. I want to steal her entire intro.
Okay, sure. Hang on, I can demonstrate. Hi, I'm O Girls. My pronouns are, what are your pronouns? I know your pronouns, but you should say
she, her, they, them.
She, her, they, them. Oh my gosh, same pronoun gang. Oh my goodness. We should have a hat that says same pronoun gang on it. I'm an adorable being who can never find my glasses. I sound a little bit like a cooler Velma. I have like some of the coolest ears in all of VRChat, and an amazing, inclusive, and welcoming community that you should pop on into, and you should be like, oh my gosh, old girls, and just like scoofle my head. Yeah.
Okay, I'll use
consensual head scoofling.
You're the most adorable person I know.
You're the most adorable person I know. I'm gonna flip you upside down.
Yeah. So I guess
I also have a slime on my head.
You do have a slime on your head.
Blorp can take off the sunny.
Wait, what are their pronouns?
I guess he and they at this point. I don't know. I didn't invent them. They just sort of turned into a he, they. Like I feel like Blorp was like a he, him lesbian. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
He, him lesbian. Wait, what's a he, him lesbian?
Oh, it's like a genre of lesbians that use he, him pronouns. There's a whole bunch of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have a very dear friend who's a he, him lesbian, and that's how he describes himself. Every time he's like, hi, this is my gender, he, him lesbian. I'm like, cool, carry on.
Well, I'm still kind of confused, but that feels woke. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, I guess gender sexuality is complicated. I mean, I can tell you the
I
story of
respected
Blorp. We
all of
haven't even
it.
gotten into
Yeah.
like how I started being a doofus, but we'll get there in
What?
time.
I love that story.
No, no. I mean, I was
You're not a
born, and then
doofus.
I got shot by the doofus Cupid's arrow, and I fell in love with being a doofus, and there was no
Oh, I
escape
was
from me.
shot
Oh
with
my
that
goodness,
era
yeah.
too. I relate. So yeah,
hmm
so wait, Blurp? You just made Blurp?
So Blorp. So basically, I wasn't always '90s anime style. I kind of fell in love with like
That's
retro anime styles
true.
when I was trying to catch up on like anime because I didn't grow up watching it, right?
Oh, really?
I've always really loved
That's
Sailor Moon. It was one of
Moments.
the only animes that I didn't
Okay.
watch Moomins either. I didn't really watch TV growing up.
Oh,
One of the only
okay.
animes that I really saw like ages ago was Sailor Moon, which I really fell in love with. So I wanted to go back and see more
Yeah.
stuff like it and from that era and further back. So I was watching like a bunch of like 80s, 90s anime. And I just fell in love with a bunch of it. And I was like, I kind of want to embrace this style. I'm technically from the 80s myself. I may as well
Yeah.
like lean into it and be kind of a retro vibes, kind of dorky, a little bean. Has been nice. So I went 90s, 80s anime styles. I mean, the thing that sold me on it is I watched that one episode of Dirty Pair that's older than I am, where they like drew guns to defend a trans woman, and I was like, all right,
Oh, I
80s
love
anime it
that.
is. Let's
I haven't
go.
seen that. I don't even know what Dirty Pair is, but that
Oh my
sounds.
goodness, we'll have to talk retro anime at some point during the interview then.
I would love to. I would
But
absolutely love
so
to.
when I
Yeah.
became a little 90s 80s anime bean, I felt like, well, okay, if I'm gonna have this as an outfit, because at the time it was a single outfit. I was gonna do one outfit that was sort of like 80s retro inspired, and then otherwise not. And I sort of totally failed at that. Now I have like 20 something 80s anime outfits, like a doofus. But I was like, okay, but all of these animes have like a little like comic relief companion. Like there's like a little
Mm.
bean that sits on someone's head sometimes. So what if I just like quickly modeled a little slime that sits on my head? They were originally going to be fuzzy, but I didn't like how the fuzzy looked, so they sort of turned into a slime instead. And then my community named them Blorp and sort of seemed to fall in love with them a little bit. And Blorp now has a whole bunch of different outfits. Blorp is also like an
Oh.
extremely skilled musician now, just to let you know. Like Blorp has quite the repertoire of
Oh,
music.
that's
So
so cute.
yeah.
The saxophone.
Very classy, very skilled up
Oh
there.
my
Kind of a little
god.
bit romantic, with the saxophone. But yeah, I don't know if you can hear Avatar sounds. You
Oh, I
might
have
just be
them
hearing
turned
nothing at
off.
all
I
right
am
now and
hearing
simply be
nothing at all.
imagining
Nothing
everything.
at
Oh
all.
no! Secret
Oh, they're
music
playing the
noises.
jazz.
Yeah, they're a skilled musician. I mean, I'm also a bit of a musician myself, so I've got the trumpet to represent. But
Wait, so do you play the trumpet? I don't think I never.
I do, yeah. I haven't really so much recently. I play the trumpet primarily on stream with only my face because I'm part trumpet on my mother's side. So,
Wait, what? I noticed your trumpet
here,
earrings.
I
Wait,
can
are you
demonstrate. I can
really? Are you
demonstrate.
really part trumpet?
Yeah, my mom's half trumpet. My dad's French. My mom's like, mix the things
Mix
into
a
trumpet.
trumpet. Okay, that makes
Yeah, yeah.
sense. I didn't know you were half trumpet.
My grandfather was a trumpet. It's hard to say.
That doesn't seem so hard. That
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense
yeah.
when you put it that way.
I know, right? It sounds so complicated. No, I added this because it turns out I can just make a trumpet noise with my face. Once
Yeah.
you learn how to play the trumpet, you can sort of just, or the trombone, especially, I guess, because trombone, you just play the trombone with your face. Then you also have like a little tube thing you do. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just discovered I didn't need a trumpet to sound like a trumpet. So I added one to an avatar and I like to bamboozle people to look like I'm playing a real trumpet and then just move it away and continue.
Wait, does it actually make
To be like,
sounds?
I mean, no, but my face
Oh,
does.
your face does. Okay. Okay.
I can be like,
Oh wow, that's so impressive! They're playing the trumpet. Wait, you're
just
bamboozling me.
freestyles,
You're not playing
freestyles
a
trumpet. Oh
trumpet.
my goodness! I don't have a current trumpet IRL though. My last trumpet got damaged,
Oh no.
so I will maybe one day add a trumpet to my throne or save up money for it. Well, we'll
Aren't
see.
they?
Yeah.
I mean, wind instruments are so expensive, aren't they? Oh wait, isn't it like $1 million for a trumpet or something? How much is a
I
trumpet?
mean, only in Canada. It's probably like a couple $100 US, but that's like $7.3 million to me,
I
probably.
see.
So,
I see.
yeah,
Did you play trumpet since you were young? Like, have you played it for a while?
yeah.
Oh. Was that your first instrument? Like, did you play other instruments growing up? I didn't
What
know
was
this
my
about
first
you.
instrument? Probably a trumpet, actually, because I
Yeah.
picked up trumpet in like band in middle school.
Mhm.
But I've also played like a small variety. I used to sing, So
Yeah.
singing was probably the main instrument for me for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But having a vocal condition and then it turning out to be a trans girl made it a bit complicated. I don't have the range that I used to have anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it and I still enjoy singing on occasion.
Yeah. Okay. I see. I'm very curious about this now. I don't think I've heard you sing here and there, but I didn't know that you were like a singer.
I don't do it very often. I used
Yeah.
to sing all the time.
Yeah.
I think what I sound kind of like Incubus. I sounded like Incubus. That's
You
what I
sounded
used
like
to sound.
Incubus? Wow, I could see a young bunny
Like
hearted
almost
sounding
exactly.
like Incubus.
Almost exactly. Yeah.
Wow. I could see
It was
that.
very silly.
Oh, Sacker loves Incubus. I didn't listen to them a ton, but I do. Did you like Incubus?
Hey, they're fine. No, they're pretty nice.
Yeah, okay, define Incubus. Define the
They're
term.
fine. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Define the term. Isn't it like a succubus, but for pens?
For
Just after
pens?
the ink.
Oh. Yes. Wait, what is the Yes. Okay. I don't even know what we're talking about. I wanted to
I know. We have interview questions and we're
No, who
just going
cares?
chaos mode.
Those are just for show.
Why? I thought about them. I don't.
Oh
didn't,
yeah,
like,
you thought about them.
write
Well, let's
fancy
use them
answers,
though.
but I didn't think about them. We could do them if you
well, I
wanted to,
love-
or
well-
we could just freestyle conversation in here. I don't know. I'm up for whatever. It's your interview.
love doing a combination of both because I feel like I throw the questions out there, but then at the same time, I don't want to be like, okay, let's cut off our conversation right now to go to the next interview question. I like it to be
That's
more.
valid. I have
free-flowing.
facilitator brain all the time, so I'm always like, exactly how much time do we have at this interview? Brilliant. So at this particular moment, I need to be this many questions through.
Yeah. No, this is, I'm not going to hold you for too long, however long you can stay.
No, I've got a pretty reasonable amount of time. I can hang out for a bit.
Okay, yeah. Hello, everyone, by the way. I'm going to reintroduce my guest, Bunnyhearted. We're doing an interview. She is mostly a vrchat streamer. Is that fair to say? But you are a variety streamer. You stream a lot of different games. And do your spiel again.
I'm like my spiel to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Bunnyhearted. I'm a cozy, comfy,
I've heard this before.
themed, retro-styled trans VTuber. My pronouns are she and her, they and them, and I love your face. I did it backwards. It didn't work as well.
I really need to say that and just get it out of the way. Just get it out of the way because I think it is good for like sometimes you get a lingering person be like, "Oh, bro, you're trans. Well, fuck you."
Oh
or
my
something,
goodness, you're trans on the internet. What? My favorite is when they like demand to know whether or not I'm a boy or a girl, and I'm like, oh, my pronouns are down there, Dorcas. Go.
Yeah, exactly. I know they demand.
Yeah. They're like, but I demand to know because I mean,
For
okay,
some
don't quote me
reason.
on this, but it's like I feel like they're trying to figure out whether or not they're allowed to be attracted to you.
That's what I was
Like,
just thinking,
That's your
yeah.
problem, not my problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's just you problem.
Yeah. Oh no, Violet. I don't know. Right. I'm gonna also read your chat because I
You
love your
can.
chat, and I have mod view open for it right now.
Come on, the open palm.
Yeah, I'm just BRB banning myself again. Oh my goodness.
The trans are taking over the internet. Deal with it. I like.
Hey,
to
secret
see it.
fact. Go look up Lynn Conway. We made the internet.
Who's Lynn Conway? You made the internet? What? Can we? What?
Not me. Trans people made the internet.
Oh, what? I didn't know that. That's Pog. I guess we can talk about, if you prepared. I guess the first question I was going to ask you was, we met in vrchat, and I think you've told me this once or twice before, but how did you get started in VR and like being so cool,
with VR,
being such
VR
a
in
cute
general?
bunny VTuber?
Well, I started being so cool and being such a cute bunny because I learned it from you. No, I've always been a cool and cute bunny.
Yeah.
We could talk about where the name came from because that was just from like a French person
yeah.
trying to insult me, and it didn't land very well. And
Wait,
Rabbit Hearted
really?
was taken on social media.
Oh,
And yeah, they called me
Rabbit-hearted.
Rabbit Hearted. Like I think they were trying to call me a bleeding hearted liberal or something. It was very funny. And it just
What?
stuck with me.
A French Canadian person?
Mm-hmm.
Or that sounds like such a French Canadian insult.
I know, right? Like rabbit-hearted is an expression, but I've never heard it used in that kind of way before.
Yeah.
So anyways, how did I get started in VR? Well, all right, way back to the halcyon day of like 2020 or so, there was this little known pandemic happening,
Oh
and it turns
yeah.
out that I am an at-risk person and I like not dying. So
Yeah, me
I sort
too.
of felt like I probably shouldn't like go do group exercise things at the gym, especially before vaccines were a thing that existed.
Yeah.
I wanted to find a way to exercise and be physically active and sort of like get out of the house
Mm-hmm.
while still like not putting myself in danger. I thought about buying a Switch, but I bought a Quest 1 instead.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of glad that I did. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I got my Quest originally to play Super Hot because it seemed like a lot of fun. I knew about VRChat a little bit before because I had played it in desktop mode a couple of times with like Murder One, just with a couple of
Oh,
friends.
Murder One.
But I'd never really like given it an honest go, to be honest. But then I found it on the Quest store and I was like, oh, right, interesting. This works on Quest. I'll have to hop in. And then I never left. I mean, not exactly. I guess I started streaming differently. But
Yeah, yeah. What? I mean, what? Is there anything that you love about VR? Like, what are some of the? I usually ask this later on, but I ask everyone,
ooh,
what do you think some of the pros and cons for you are? I always say this, but I know this wasn't the case for you at all. It doesn't seem like, but for me, I felt when I was in VR, it was kind of a really safe place for me to explore like my gender identity and stuff. But I feel like you had that on lock already before. You're maybe
well,
not. I
I
don't
mean,
know. I
I've
don't
been
know,
out for
but
about 11 years now, so
okay.
I've had a lot of time to do introspection, be pretty confident about who I am.
Yeah.
But also, I think that is one of the things that I love the most about VR chat and virtual communities like this, where you're able to express yourself in like an embodied way, right? Like I can stick my whole leg up here, my leg goes up.
Yeah.
That's pretty heckin' amazing, and that's a level of immersion that so few other kind of like pieces of software have. And having like an immersive piece of software where you can explore what your body looks like and how you express yourself and how people refer to you is so freaking important. And I'm so thankful that a place like this exists and just giving people space to explore and express themselves and all of that stuff. It's phenomenal. I really love it. I think that's one of the coolest things about VR chat. It's also a big part of why I will always make myself available to help people if I can when it comes to making models and stuff like that, especially if they're like using it to try to represent themselves. Because I think everyone deserves to feel authentic in a space like this. So
I
especially because
completely
a lot
agree.
of folks don't really have space to be authentic in real life, right? Like there are a lot of
Yeah.
folks in my community right now who are closeted and use a different name and a different set of pronouns outside of the community and outside of VR. And I'm just so thankful that they have this space where I get to see them for who they really are and chat with them for who they really are. And they can explore that and they can be that and they can share that. We can scheme together about like safety and futures and all of that stuff. It's really amazing. And like when I came out, there wasn't really much of a like a. I mean, there was, but it wasn't quite as significant or networked like an online trans community.
Mm-hmm.
It was still very like. I'm going to use a term that I may have to explain later. Very biomedicalist and very binary in
Oh,
trans
wait, what
community
does that
stuff
mean?
back when I came out. So very like
You're
rooted
so
in the
smart.
medical understanding of transness, and you
Oh,
definitely want to
yeah.
medically transition, and non-binary people are probably not a thing that we're considering at this point because it's 11 years ago and the trans community is really rooted in a lot of that stuff. And
Yeah,
it just wasn't very
right.
very fun. And I don't know,
Yeah.
like when I came out, I didn't know any other trans people. I didn't have a
Yeah.
trans community around me. I was the first person out of all of the people that I knew to come out as trans. Turns out there were many more, but we were secretly finding each other by accident. Dun, 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 dun. And I didn't have a space like this to explore and express myself. And I didn't really have anywhere to dip my toes in.
Hmm.
And I'm so thankful that people do now. It's so amazing.
Yeah. Was that hard on you when you were younger?
Oh
Like,
gosh, yes.
okay, yeah, yeah. Oh, this so yeah, so
Yeah,
it's easy.
absolutely. Yeah.
No, like, how
I
did
mean,
you?
I don't think people have it easy
I
now
get,
either. Like, I
no,
think the
yeah, no,
narrative around trans
no.
people has changed so much in so much of the world that it's in some ways a more hostile space than it used to be.
God, yeah, and I feel like we
But at
could
least we
talk
can
about that
network now.
forever. But, well, I guess I'm curious. Like, I was telling my doctor about this when he asked me, like, when did you kind of know, if, like, for sure you wanted to transition? I was like, I was wondering about it. I always had this feeling since I was like a teenager, but it wasn't until for me, I had friends who were trans and like saw me express myself the way I wanted to express myself that made me feel more comfortable feeling this way. But it also
Mm.
gave me a little bit more dysphoria because I became like hyper aware, like, oh yeah, I am actually, I am this person. And like, were there any like people that influenced you, or were you just like, I've always been
I
more
mean,
more
yeah. I mean,
feminine,
I,
or
I
like,
I had a very very lucky encounter. I tried to pick up a trans girl in a bar, and she sort of looked me up and down and was like, "We need to have a talk." It was phenomenal.
oh
It was when I was
yeah,
like 21, something like that.
yeah,
But I mean, for me, like on the trans narrative, like I don't know that I ever really knew for sure because I didn't have any terminology
right.
for
That's, I
it,
guess that's what I
right?
was
Like
wondering
like
about,
growing
like,
up in the like the late 90s as a doofus 12-year-old or whatever.
oh.
Like we were learning like, it's okay to be gay, maybe on
Yeah,
occasion
kind
you can
of.
kind of be gay,
Yeah.
but we didn't really ever discuss the B or especially the T of that acronym. It was just
Yeah.
an unheard of, not non-conceptual thing, and all of the frameworks that I had for what transes were of course stuff like the classic example, the first Ace Ventura movie, where like the villain is
Yeah.
revealed to be a trans woman and the police all like get viciously ill as they're
It's
forcing her to strip at
horrible.
gunpoint.
Yeah.
Deeply traumatizing, it turns out. Don't not a fan of
Right.
Ace Ventura. I mean, I
Not
feel
a
like also
fan.
they were in an Ace Ventura movie, so they had lots of reasons to be upset. But like, anyways,
Yeah.
so I the only sort of framework that I had for that sort of stuff was this like really really like violent freak narrative, right? Like this like totally inaccurate thing for what a trans person actually is, and I knew that that wasn't me, but I didn't have the words for what the heck I actually am. Like I didn't hear the
Right.
word transgender really in like the concept of describing an actual person until I was 20.
Yeah. Okay, that's really
But I guess like
interesting.
I don't
Yeah.
know, for things that I knew, like I definitely remember being really upset at puberty because it meant that
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be a girl. I was very annoyed about that.
So
I
you were
wanted to
aware of
like
that when you were
resist it.
younger, like you were like,
Sure,
I
yeah,
hate
but
being a
I didn't know that
boy.
that meant something. I thought everyone wanted to be a girl. Girls are amazing. Of course,
That's a
everyone
good
wants to be a
point.
girl.
That's a good point. Even
Like they're
before I
cool as
knew
heck. Let's
anything, I was like,
go.
man, I never thought about it, but I
Right?
had this feeling like, man, girl clothes are so much cuter and softer
I
and
know. I was wanting to
yeah.
wear overalls and a big hat. Now I can wear overalls and a big hat. It's great.
You
Small
do,
me is
and
so
you do all the
excited.
time. I see you wear all the big
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so and I don't know, like all through school, I feel like many of my friends sort of knew we didn't know what that meant. Like they would jokingly call me a lesbian in a boy's body or
Yeah,
call me like a
right.
feminine version of my name and stuff like that. Like
Aw,
it was all very like not something that was surprising to anyone, except that it was because none of us knew that it really meant
right.
anything.
Yeah.
So I sort of like explored queerness a little bit into my like late teens and early 20s, but I, for some reason, just didn't feel very comfortable with things. But that's because of who I was, not because of who my partners were.
Yeah.
And then I, tried to pick up a trans girl in a bar and then got drunk for 2 years trying to not think about it. And then I came
Wait.
out.
Wait,
Yeah.
what? I had that period too. Wait, what is that period? Like you were just kind of when you became
I mean,
aware
I
of
was
the term, or like when
yeah,
you became
it was
aware
like
of.
trying to process through that and get through all of the stuff that I had learned about what a trans person was and trying to resist that and trying to actually
Oh,
educate myself in
yeah.
like, 2012, 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Sorry, I
guess
still
it's sort of
remember.
like 2008 or 9 when I discovered trans people existed. So
Yeah.
probably, wait, maybe even earlier than that. I don't know. Time is weird. It's
Time
been a
is
while.
weird. So I just want to say real quick, I'm going to be disabling. I totally forgot to disable the redeem, so I'm sorry. I'll do it real. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Boop. Here you go. But I'm
Okay, I'm gonna
gonna
do
be.
them too. I'm gonna do them too. Boop 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 boop.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a different. It's a different redeem,
uh,
right? Carry on.
uh. No, this is so interesting because I think I had similar
Mm.
experiences, and it wasn't until I was like in my 30s where I like met like other trans people and kind of was aware of that term and knew what that meant. And I I don't know. I had the definitely drinking for 2 years period. I don't know if it's completely the same, but
Well, I
yeah,
mean, that was definitely just me trying to like suppress what I was feeling, right? Like
right.
I was trying to enforce dissociation, basically. Like,
There's something about it, yeah, when it becomes suddenly so real. Like you have these, or for me, like I had these, thoughts, and like for me, it was always like maybe in another life or whatever. Maybe if it wasn't so hard or whatever that means, and then suddenly being like, no, you are, and this is definitely a real choice you can make. Yeah, that did throw me for a loop for a little bit, and it was
yeah,
hard.
it's a bit of a journey, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a journey.
It's not boring. I will
It's a
give it
bit
that
of a journey.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a journey. Do some
Uh,
things. Yeah.
I'm gonna get some coffee. Hang
Yeah,
on,
I'll
my
drink
coffee's
some
now
more.
not in your
It's
internal
not.
organs, so it's now
Mine
floor
is.
coffee. I miss the organs coffee. That was really organic. It was fresh
Oh
stuff.
my.
Like, ugh, come
How
on.
are you so good at wordplay with words?
It's so good at wordplay. I don't know if I'm good at wordplay.
You
I can barely
said,
speak. I have
you
a whole
said this
vocal
coffee
condition
is
about this.
organic just because you drank it through my organs. It's organic. Blood covered in blood.
Oh no. That's why I don't need to add anything to my coffee. It's already flavored with old girl's blood. Yeah.
Yeah. I
I feel like I should be in my Halloween outfit here. Get little vampire fangs going on.
I had questions or something. Let me look at the list of questions.
I have the list. I have the list of questions.
I
I can
know,
read.
because you know. I have them up here. We talked briefly about what sort of stuff you were doing before VR, but how did you? So you were into VR chat. Like, how did you get started streaming? Like, what did you have any inspirations? Like, is there a reason why you want to start streaming?
I guess, yeah. I mean, like I hopped on to say hi to a friend who was streaming from VR chat. I never really considered streaming from VR chat or that streaming could be in like a conversational format, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I hopped on to say hi to that friend, and then I kind of never left. And I'm trapped here forever, and my soul became one with the machine. It's terrible.
Not
But
terrible.
before that, I had like, to be honest, I had dipped my toes in streaming before I like started streaming. Like I made a very
Oh.
simple like live 2D Adventure Time style sort of character,
Mm-hmm.
and I streamed like a few times, like maybe once every couple of weeks, just randomly, to like experiment. I didn't, to be honest, I didn't think it was for me. Like I was
Mm.
receiving weird transphobia, of course, but then
Yeah.
also like I sort of like didn't conceptualize that I could just like talk to people. I thought I had to like play
Play a
games and
game or
do
something.
game things,
Yeah.
because that's so much of how the platform is advertised, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was never me. Sometimes I
That's
like to play
relatable.
games and do stuff, but I'm really like a just chatting streamer in a fancy VR hat or
Yeah.
headset, I guess. Clicks index buttons.
That's extremely relatable. I do play games occasionally too, but I find most of the enjoyment I get out of streaming is just interacting with people, giving people a safe place to hang out and just having
Hmm.
fun and laughing
I
and
mean,
stuff.
I just like meeting people. I was chatting a little bit about this before, and maybe this will come up in additional questions and stuff too. I don't know. But like way back in the day, I used to work in a restaurant, and I just so love being able to meet and interact with new people every single day, and
Yeah.
I've missed that, and I love that streaming lets me do a little bit of that again. It's really nice.
Yeah. Did you find it hard to, and I find it so hard to meet people in the workplace, in IRL and
In
stuff.
the workplace,
Did you,
so
do you have, I mean, you have
hmm.
like your Dorktail stuff, but did you have trouble like finding like friends outside of, or like at work or outside of school? I don't know. Like, how do you make friends outside of VR?
How do
I
you make
don't
friends? All
know.
right. So I think the first thing that you got to do is you got to put cheese outside with a big box looming ominously over
Is
the
that
cheese.
how you make
And then,
friends?
well, okay. So I mean,
Sorry, you can finish.
I don't know. I can talk a little bit about like the stuff that I did before VR,
Yeah, that is
and
something
then we
that
can
was a
talk
question
about
I
like
asked.
connecting with folks through
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Because
Great
like my
transition.
background is in tech, right? Like
It
my
is. Okay.
degree is in computer nerd
Okay, I
shit.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's
Confirmed.
secret tech nerd confirmed. But like, I guess a few years after I came out, I sort of felt like that world was no longer for me. I mean, it was actively hostile to me, to be
Oh, the
honest.
tech world?
So that was definitely, yeah. And
Whoa.
I felt like I wanted to do some more activisty things, and I was like organizing a bunch of like mutual aid organizations and stuff like that at the time anyways, so that was sort of like a nice thing for me to fit into. And I swapped my bunny butt over to like the nonprofit world, doing like, curriculum development and education work and being a support worker and running organizations and all of that stuff. And so in that world, it's very easy to connect with people because you're just networking forever. You have to.
Yeah, right.
And so at least in that sort of way, I never felt lonely, but also like none of my friends were friends I could just chill with, except for like those that I'd
Yeah.
met through nerdy activities, like the other channel that I'm often on, which is Stork Tales, which is a
Yeah.
really amazing tabletop
It
gaming channel.
is.
If you like Dungeons and Dragons and you like other tabletop games, I'm old girls now.
Ah,
You should go check them
my
out.
It's just DORKTTALES, right? No underscore,
Exactly,
no
exactly,
nothing. Yeah.
yeah.
I highly recommend
But
that
like,
channel too. It's very
I don't know.
fun.
I feel like, hmm. I don't know. I feel like there's like some cohesive thought here that comes together with why streaming feels like such a good fit for me too. Is like beyond being like a total dork. Like I'm chronically ill, right? Like my
Wait, you're chronically
body
ill?
comes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
I
didn't
I
know
mean I got a
that.
vocal condition. I've got colitis. My
What's
migraines all the
colitis
time.
again?
My body. It's sort of like the other Crohn's disease, but not as bad as Crohn's disease, at least in my opinion, from knowing people with Crohn's
Oh, I
disease.
did not know that. I
It
see.
sucks. Don't recommend it.
Oh,
Uh, but so like my body does its best, but it comes with a bunch of like limits and frustrations and limited
oh,
spoons and capacities and all of that stuff, and that's been like a major frustration for me. And I feel like with stream, I'm able to combine the tech skills and knowledge that I have in a way that feels a lot more artistic and freeing and authentic to
yeah,
myself, which is really really lovely. I love fiddling with stuff. I'm a giant dork, but I can also like build community and lean on some of those support worker skills and like get to meet new people. And it's just so lovely. It feels like the perfect synthesis of all of the things that I love doing. Nerd ass art shit and meeting people and building
yeah,
communities. And hi, speaking of people, my
yeah. Is there
wife has
someone?
just
Your
appeared. Hi,
wife.
wife. Hi, I'm
Your wife.
being interviewed by old
Hi,
girls.
your wife. Your wife seems so cool.
My wife is so cool.
Can I ask how long you've been together? Like how you guys met? Or is that a
I mean, we
personal?
met online actually.
Online.
I know, right?
What?
On Tumblr.
Oh wait, on Tumblr. That's a cool place
Yeah.
to meet people. Tumblr.
I know. I mean, it was basically like the trans for trans Tinder back in the day, right? And so
Yeah, yeah, sort of
I think
was.
she just appeared to come make wooble noises at me and give me a smooch on the head.
Aw.
She's very sweet.
How long have you been together? I'm sorry. I love learning about
Uh,
people like in relationships that are happily married. It sounds like.
I mean, I guess we've been married
Are you
for
happily
4
married?
years. I mean, yeah, of course.
Okay,
We were
cool.
together for a couple years before that.
4 years old. I always said to people, I was like, congratulations! Congratulations!
Congratulations. Devin Kelly an applause at the end. Congratulations.
Exactly.
I love this question. It's like, you're being interviewed on twitch.tv/girls. Are you happily married? Answer the microphone. It's the 1920s. We all have transatlantic accents for some reason. Wait, hang on. I'm trans. I live on the Atlantic. Oh
Transatlantic.
no!
That's
Dun,
hot.
dun, dun.
I didn't ask you that. How did you get so cute? Don't say you learned it from me.
How did I get
That's
so cute? I
that's a
can't say that I learned it from you. So instead, I learned it from my community.
You learned it from your community. That's totally fair. I mean, we pick up
And
things from the
you.
people around
You're
you. Okay,
part
I
of
learned it from you. Um,
that.
yeah. Yeah, you were like a programmer, and then or were you a programmer? You're an engineer or
Hmm.
something. Okay,
Yeah.
and then you transitioned. I didn't know you did more. I thought you were still like a programmer, but no, you do more like social work.
I mean, I do like occasional bits of tech stuff. You sort of always have to. The nonprofit sector doesn't pay you any money.
Yeah, right.
So
Can I ask a little bit more about that? Like what specifically you do? Like you don't have to say your
for
name.
tech stuff or
No, for like for the
stuff?
nonprofit stuff. Like
So
what
I will
exactly?
have to be a little bit unspecific,
That's fine.
unfortunately. But
Yeah,
I will say that the things that I focus on are mostly anti-violence and supporting folks who have been through specific situations.
that's fair. Yeah, is that to protect? It's probably to protect everybody, I guess, involved. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I see.
Just a very small community.
Yeah. This is a random question, but I guess it's somewhat has to do with this. What do you tell somebody? And I find it like really hard. And the only I feel like the only way to respond to something like this is to just be there and listen and support. But what do you tell somebody who's like younger maybe and are like living with their parents and are like, yeah, I'm trans, but my parents are so anti-trans and they'll kick me out of the house and like I feel almost like suicidal in a way. Like, is there something you can say in
Yeah,
that situation? I know this is such a
I think
big
so.
question,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
like,
it is a really big question, right? And I
uh,
feel like some of it is probably going to be very, very specific to the
that's
individual person.
fair, yeah.
Like I feel like some key stuff that I would want to make sure is put across and that sort of thing is that like you're really glad that they're telling you because you might be the
Yes,
only person that they're telling and they might feel like they
right,
can't talk to anyone and it's kind of really nice that they've chosen to share that with you,
yeah,
and that it's not their fault that they're in this kind of situation,
right,
and that of course things change. This will not be the situation for forever.
yeah,
Real good odds they're going to have a future where they can authentically be themselves. But I think so much of what to do in that is like to listen. And then something that you can do, which can help a lot with sort of like that kind of listening in like a supportive role, which is called active listening, which is really like allowing someone else to lead the conversation, but reflecting back to them what they're saying. So, I mean, if you say something, I can try to active listen back to you, but it's different in a conversation like this. And so I don't know if I can demonstrate super easily. But sort of just it helps to like talk through a little bit of what they're feeling without having to like be an actual therapist. Um,
yeah.
and then also I would try to connect them with support organizations and resources that are better equipped than me, a random VTuber.
Yeah. Do you have any? Do you have any? I know this is. Do you have any
I mean,
support?
so
Any groups
there's
or
lots of places
organizations? Or?
that you can look to try to find organizations and resources to support someone. So much of it depends, of course, on their location, but there are like trans resource websites to try to collate stuff. It can be really challenging because sometimes you'll need someone's like city or part of a state or a province or part of a distant country that they're in.
Yeah.
You might need to do some searching in different languages and that sort of thing. But I do feel like finding like at least organizations that exist near someone that they could reach out to if they needed to or felt comfortable doing so can be really beneficial. And that can also be something that's really challenging for someone to do when they're feeling like they're in a hopeless situation, and that nothing will change, and that there's no one like them around. It's just nice to sort of have those sort of links to be like, hey, here's a place that I found that is like a city away. This is the cool trans person that runs it. Here's their contact information. But that's to be honest, that's a lot of work to do. So I
Yeah.
think pointing someone to a larger line like the Trans Lifeline or something like that could be beneficial too, or even just like doing those quick things and being like, hey, I'm glad you told me. I'm really sorry this is happening. It's not your fault. Reflect
Yeah.
back a little bit of what they're saying and like check in if you can.
Yeah. This is really helpful. Thank you. This is more of me
I mean,
asking
I
you as
think
a
like
friend because
something that I think is important for you to know though,
yeah.
is that you don't have to.
Yeah.
It is okay to set boundaries on this sort of thing. Like something that I do very intentionally, and I say this pretty often, is that my DMs are basically always open. Like I don't close them as long as you're in my server or a couple of other servers. My DMs are open to you, but I am very slow at responding to those DMs, and I will triage them, and I will absolutely do my best to respond, provide any sort of resources or something anyone looking out for support is doing. But I am not able to be on call.
Yeah.
But I will point links to organizations that are like the Trans Lifeline or something like that, and like a support channel or something. I think that is my very simple boundaries. I will do my best, but I'm one person.
I think that's very, yeah, that's very valid. And my DMs are open
I think
too.
it's the
I'm the
same. It's the
same
same
way.
for you.
It's
It's
the
the
same
same for
for
you.
me.
All you
Yeah.
can
My
do is do
DMs
your
are
best, and
open.
sometimes that
Oh.
is catching up tomorrow or not, or
Yeah.
telling them, hey, I'm really sorry, here's the resource number for the trans lifeline. Good luck,
Yeah.
thumbs
Good
up.
luck. Yeah. Good
Like,
luck.
you have
I
to, I guess one of the first
do.
things that I learned when learning how to do support work stuff is that you have to support yourself first.
Yeah,
If you are
exactly.
unsupported, if you are feeling unsafe, if you're feeling burned out or overwhelmed, you're not in a position to support someone else.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. It's something
Like you're,
I'm
if you
struggling
have a
with.
therapist, your therapist probably has a therapist.
Yeah,
Just so
most
you know.
likely.
Like
Yeah. I are you
getting more
are you ever
coffee.
on green status on Discord? I had to turn it off to red because occasionally I get, and I also made my community 18 plus recently, but well, like a few months ago. I would get sometimes
Hmm.
if I wasn't on red, I would get like calls from like 13-year-old kids who are nice, but they're like, "Hey, you want to play Minecraft?" I'm like, "I'm working right
Yeah,
now. I'm an adult."
they're really
I can't,
sweet.
it's so
And also,
sweet,
no,
but
I
I'm
don't want to
like,
play
yeah, it's
Minecraft. I'm sorry.
like,
But yes,
no.
absolutely. But also, like, I guess for me, it's like taking a step back, right? And being like, this is
Yeah,
somebody who's trying to reach out. And
yeah,
either they're looking for community, in which case I'll be like, hey, check out the gaming channel. Or maybe
yeah,
they're like, that they're looking because they want an excuse to talk about trans stuff or queer stuff.
yeah,
And they feel they can't just do that. They have to have a context for it, right? So,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm always happy to talk to people about that, and I do feel like you said, I feel very honored, genuinely, when people feel like I'm the person they can talk to about that. I think that's so sweet, and I wish I
mhm.
had that
I guess
person when I
it's,
was younger.
I don't even
But
know if it's even necessarily about that. Like when I say that I'm glad that they're reaching out, is that they're reaching out to someone. Like it
yeah,
doesn't have to
right.
be me. I'm just thankful that they are. Like it's so easy to keep this sort of stuff, whether that be like a traumatic experience or like how you're feeling about yourself in connection to like queerness or any of that stuff, totally inside and never tell anyone. And I just feel like I always want to recognize that that is like a big thing to do for someone who is reaching support is to like tell someone that they're seeking support. Because we're raised in a society that tells us to all be rugged individualists who don't need know each other's.
Yeah,
When we're literally like a species that evolved to build communities, like
right.
it's total bullshit.
Yeah,
But it's what we're taught growing up in so much of the so-called Western world. So,
yeah. Why?
uh,
Tell me the history of.
do you want the authentic short answer?
I do actually. Why did we?
Colonial capitalism and imperialism.
Colonial capitalism, imperialism. Wait, elaborate just for a little
That's
bit.
why we're all said to be like rugged individualists because it makes us more
Oh,
marketable. It makes us easier to control. It stops us from relying on each other, and doing things like
oh,
forming unions, and doing the
oh.
things that resist
Man, this
the
is
power of
dark.
capital and
This
rich
is true.
weirdos.
It's
Yeah.
so true.
And it also like this is also connected to the formation of the nuclear family was the occupation of indigenous land, because colonization is an interesting historical thing, and it turns out when they were
Yeah.
sending a bunch of people over here into so-called North America, they kept boinking with the wrong genders as far as the colonial authorities were concerned, and they really wanted them to settle down and put families on land they were trying to steal from indigenous people, so they started
Mm.
doing that like parcel of land per family thing. That's where that comes from.
Wow. That
This
is
displacing indigenous
extremely
people across North
depressing
America.
and interesting at the
I know,
same
right?
time. Wow.
But it also, in some ways, highlights how recent the ideas that we have right now are in even Western history, and in particular, if you happen to live on a piece of land that was colonized, where you're standing.
There's food for thought there, right? I'm sorry, I'm so
Snarf, snarf,
overwhelmed.
snarf. Sorry, I can go
No,
on about
don't be.
these
I
things
am.
forever,
No, I think it's
too.
so interesting, and I think it's something we should be aware of because I always think about like
I feel like
why
also with
things
the
are the
topics
way
like
they
these, I'm
are.
always like,
Right?
and also this is now like a 4 hour
This is
conversation to
like a
really get into it and make this all make sense. Because I can see someone hearing that and being like, "What, Bunny? That sounds like hot garbage." And I'm like, "Oh my god, no! Please read books on
listen
this.
to
It's really
me.
interesting."
Yeah, yeah, it's super
But also,
interesting.
like it's hard to explain in
In like
five
5 minutes,
minutes.
yeah, that was. I think you did a very good job of explaining in 5 minutes, and I'd love
I
to
mean, I do my
pick your brain
best.
about this sort of thing. Wow, you read books, huh? Do you read? Do you read?
I do, but I now because I spent so much time reading books for work that I struggle to read
Yeah,
books for fun. So that's something I'm
I
actually
do.
working on right now
I
is trying
know
to like
that
read a novel
feeling.
for fun.
Yeah, I know
I'm
that
bad at
feeling.
it.
Girl spitting out facts before the pendulum swings back to goofball. I think I think you're amazing in that you can somehow be extremely eloquent and like well spoken and like talk about something very serious and like but historical, educational, and still be a huge goofball at the same time. I love that about you.
I mean, I don't think I would be feeling very authentic if I wasn't a huge goofball. I am but a simple doofus, doing my heckin' dangest.
Well, okay. Well, since we're on the topic, Corvus. I don't know how to pronounce it. Corvus. They said, is it Corvus? Kitus. They said any good book racks from you or spouse, Bunny. Any book racks?
Ooh, do you mean like fiction book racks?
Book racks are books about this topic.
I guess Spouse Wife has been really into Gideon the Ninth. And about this
Whoa,
topic, I mean, Settlers is a pretty good starting point. Yeah, she did in the background. She heard me sing Gideon the Ninth and just went, yeah, from across the house.
Yeah, I just heard that. I was like,
Spouse Wife.
what was that? Like this howling. Oh, they're so adorable.
I mean, I feel like my memory is garbage for specific titles, so I might have to get back to you with a larger list. Settlers popped into my mind first, but there are tons of books about this stuff.
What's your favorite like fiction?
And also lots of cool anarchist books. Yeah.
That's pretty pog.
You're pretty pog.
Is there any like? Do you have like a favorite like work of? I mean, it's really hard to pick one favorite work of fiction or a few.
Is like a favorite work of fiction?
Oh yeah, because I kind of want to.
Oh gosh.
Segue into this like favorite works of art and books and 90s anime. Which is
okay. So I think like. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, okay. That's a larger question. 80s and 90s anime, I've got more opinions.
I'm so excited about it. More
but like, I guess when growing up, I was really into Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I read Lord of the Rings an awful lot. I also really loved Terry Pratchett and Discworld.
Okay, what's that? Discworld.
Lord of the Rings. Oh my gosh, Discworld's hilarious. Terry Pratchett is such a fun writer.
I
I will introduce you to Discworld at some point. It is about a planet that is on the back of a space turtle, and it's very, very silly.
Okay.
It's like a fully comedic fantasy world, but it's also got some like satire in there, and it's a lot of fun. There are so many Discworld books.
I'm very excited. I'm very intrigued. Okay.
Yeah, I think you would like them if you wanna see sort of a taste of what Discworld is a lot like. This is more of a festive movie, but there's a movie called The Hogfather.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it.
Okay, The Hogfather. People in the chat seem
it's extremely
to really
Discworld.
like Discworld.
Is it Corvus?
Awesome. Yeah, Corvus and Latent Logic also just Terry Pratchett.
Discworld is awesome.
Soul Music was a great novel. Soul Music. What is Soul Music? Have you read Soul Music? I didn't know.
Actually, I haven't.
Okay.
It's on my to-do list. I gotta do that.
Some of the best mastery of the English language. The BBC short series were quite well done. Well, I'll have to check it out. There are a few televisations of Discworld. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Interesting.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. Before we segue into anime.
Bonk.
Oh, ow! That's like, you're so cute. By the way, I was going to do a short, PSA, but reintroduction, I think. My guest today is the lovely bunnyhearted at twitch.tv/bunnyhearted. They are am I going to make you do the spiel again there?
I mean, you heard it a couple times, so you could try for it.
They are a
or you can make me do the spiel.
Inclusive she/her streamer. I don't know.
You're such a dork. I adore you. Oh, goodness.
Adore you. No, the pronouns are she/her.
So should I do the spiel? Do you want me to do the spiel?
Yeah, do the spiel again.
I'm going to do the spiel like as monotone as I can.
Okay, yeah.
Hello, it is I, bunnyhearted in the year 1940. No.
That's not monotone.
My pronouns are she and her, or they and them. I'm cool with either of them. I'm a retro anime styled bunny girl VTuber. I'm trans and I'm gay and I'm a dork. And I do my whole hacking dangest to build a warm, welcoming, and inclusive vibes kind of space. I mostly do just chatting stuff, but I like to highlight different indie games. And sometimes play games with the community.
Yeah. That's the spiel. Anyway.
You're the spiel. Because you're so spielful to me.
Oh, you're spielful. Spielful to me. God, I'm so happy right now. There's so much fun doesn't let us eat the bones? Nani? The bones.
Don't look at the bones.
What bones?
What the heckity? Don't look at the bones.
You want to eat your bones? Wait, what?
Okay, eating them is different. Typically, they want to look at the bones because I have a sound clip that's from like Monty Python and the Holy Grail where there's that one killer rabbit. They're like, the fish is like a mile long. Look at the bones.
Right.
I edited that scene to be like one cohesive clip, and it's a channel point redeem. And they do it all the time. So don't look at the bones has become a whole thing.
I was gonna ask you. Yeah, so I guess you're like Monty Python. Did you have any like? Who are your Who are your comedic influences? Like comedic influences.
My comedic influences. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I have no idea.
That's a great answer. Who knows? People, things. I don't know.
I feel like I mean I guess I didn't really grow up watching TV.
Yeah,
I've never really watched a lot of like. Yep, absolutely. It's that cartoons were the most age-appropriate shows to me, but that they were sexist and violent tools of the patriarchy.
Yeah, but were you thinking that, or were your parents thinking that?
No, my parents were thinking that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were this like, if you just knew about all this when you were 4.
Yeah, I'm like 4 years old, and I'm like decolonize now, indigenous rights.
Exactly.
Okay, BRB, time traveling to go hang out with 4-year-old me. Let's go. Let's get real hyped on this.
Yeah. What was 4-year-old you like? I think you weren't watching TV, which is a good thing, I think. But like,
I think I was very excited about scholastic book lists.
That's so
cute.
With
a lot of
oh my god, I remember scholastic book
some of my
favorite
favorite days were like the scholastic days. They would come to my elementary school, and they'd be like, "Yo, we got this like bookmobile," and I'd be like, "Let's fucking go! Bring on the books." This is the only time I'll swear this entire interview about freaking scholastic books. Bring it on! Let's go.
That's so
little me was real
cute.
stoked about those.
Oh my god, that's adorable.
But I always had quite an interest in tech though. Yeah. I got chicken pox and I ended up being stuck at home and I learned how to use DOS in that moment.
Oh really?
That's and so I played
cute.
Red Baron on a super old
What
PC.
What is Red Baron?
It was like a video game you can play with a joystick and discs. My bio dad played it. Yeah. But like I learned how to use a computer with like Windows 3.1, whatever. Yeah, with sort of in that moment when I had chicken pox. And then I got really excited about computers because I could make them do whatever weird stuff I wanted to.
Yeah. Were you already learning like programming and stuff at a young age, or like what kind of stuff?
I mean, I sure thought I was, but I wasn't. I was playing games.
Oh, that's so cute. Sorry, so all these memories of me playing like on DOS and 3.1 are flooding back. It's such a wonderful.
Because you're secretly like 68, right? You're so like old. You're so much older.
I'm a child
than me.
of the 80s,
can't believe it.
You know, and like
I think we're like the same age, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much. I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
My first game was Wheel of Fortune. My uncle was asking me the other day. I was on his computer, like, "Do you remember the first game you played?" I was like, "Yeah, Wheel of Fortune." He was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. I remember you were playing that like for like 4 hours a day." And be like, "That's just the coolest thing I've ever seen." Yeah, DOS noises. Are you okay? Don't be sorry for.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's something really nice about like interactive storytelling, stuff like that, whether that be like a silly game like you're just like sharing your trivia knowledge, or like the things that really got me into like loving gaming when I finally did get into it for realsies, which was like in the late 90s, like 1999, basically Y2K. I was like, oh my gosh, computers. I remember the time I had chicken pox, but like was like early visual novels like Monkey Island, all of that kind of stuff, like the little adventure stories. Those were my jam. Like just wanting to know what different decisions I could make. Like I guess I also really love those choose your own adventure books when I was small.
Oh, I love those.
I went through basically all of the possible choose your own adventure books I could ever find because it was so cool how there were different stories and I had to know what different stories different people chose, and it was just the coolest thing in the world. And so when games did that, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, please.
Yeah, I played a lot of those old adventure games. I think Sierra made a lot of those. And like choose your own adventure. God, you'd always die like 3/4 of the ending. Like, you are dead.
Yes, return to page 317. You're dead.
Yeah, that was it.
You have been eaten by leprechaun alligators. Oh my goodness, they've got little hats.
Oh, those are so cool. Do they still sell those? Do you know? Do kids read anymore? I don't think kids
The Choose
read
Your Own
anymore.
Adventure books?
I
I'm
guess
sure
they
that
have-
they still do.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what kids read. They read like Twilight or like. Did you ever read the Berenstain Bears? I used to read that. Yeah, Berenstain Bears and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, this is about you, not the Bernstein Bears. What were your?
Do you mean like, hang on, what kind of stuff are you doing now in VR? Do you have any goals or plans for the present or the future with your content?
Wait,
girl.
you haven't actually do the questions I asked you pre-stream.
No, I'm asking you the question.
No. Okay, yeah. What kind of stuff?
I just pulled up our
are you-
Discord chat. I have
What
the
kind of
list
stuff
again.
are you
Bamboozle.
doing now in VR? I usually ask that later on. Or do you have any goals or plans for the present or the future with your content? You're such
I
an
was just
organizer.
reading a random question.
No,
you
asked it. No,
wanted
I wanted to talk more about it. Well, let's talk about
What
this.
do you want to
first.
talk about?
What's that? What
What do you want to talk about?
Let's save that for later, I guess, because I like to. Okay,
Sounds
so
good,
we're
sounds
finishing
good.
off. Yeah, just tell me about what you're doing now. I want to talk about 90s anime, but also just now I wanted to ask. So you said you got started gaming in like the late 90s. That's like PlayStation 1, 2, or
No,
N64, Dreamcast. I don't know what.
I never played console games at all.
All computer games. All computer games. What kind of games were you playing? Like in the
I played
late
strategy
90s?
games
like
and constructing games.
like StarCraft games or like construction.
Oh, yeah,
games,
Brood
like
Wars.
Red Alert.
So much Brood Wars.
Yeah, so much.
Red
Brood
Alert, tons of Red Alert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Red Alert 2, years
And like
ago.
construction games like SimCity or like
Okay,
like
tiny
Roller Coaster
tangent.
Tycoon. Like
Literally
what was your-
Roller Coaster Tycoon for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
those
any
are
games
always-
that have like a physics simulation in it, especially. So the like
SimCity.
what was that game called? There was one where you had like a 2D space and it had like
In-
really rough
Incredible
physics and you could
Machine?
like
Was it that?
yes.
Oh, I used to
Incredible
play
Machine
that
was
so
jam.
much.
I was so
loved
into
that
that. It was
game.
so
Oh my
cool.
God,
Oh my
I'm gonna
gosh.
Stream that now. Incredible Machine.
Okay, BRB. We're just switching
Play
the stream over. Let me
Incredible
download Incredible Machine. I'll
Yeah,
stream it
me
to you over
too.
Discord.
All right, let's go. Speed
I bet that
run.
they still make
Incredible
those.
Machine.
I bet that they still
I
make
hope
those.
they do. Somebody check if they still make those, because I had to play. I don't know how I played it on a floppy disk usually. Incredible Machine or CD. No, they had CDs back then. Okay, so Incredible
Oh my
Machine.
gosh. CDs, historical video game ideas.
Yeah. Do you have a CD? I don't even have a CD-ROM in my computer
No,
anymore.
I have like a dedicated external CD-ROM drive just so I can read all my CD-ROM and stuff.
I got a new PCI card or something. It was like, all right, it includes a CD-ROM for you, and stuff. Like, what CD-ROM? How am I gonna use this? Anyway, did you remember like when like CD burners were a thing? Like when I remember being so excited.
I
to get
remember making my friends mixed music CDs
me
in high school.
too. They take like 4 hours to burn a CD at the time. Like, oh, how I miss it. Yeah, exactly. Like in Logic, USB CD-ROM, USB 1.0 back in the day.
Way back in the day.
So yes, they're still being made. The series is now called Contraption Maker.
Contraption Maker.
Contraptions, because
That's
the rights,
less cool, but I'm here for it.
Well,
Still.
the rights to
word
the old
contraption.
IP was lost, apparently. You ever play Gizmos and Gadgets? That was like precursor.
No, I never did Gizmos and Gadgets.
Okay, it was a precursor to that for me. Like Math Blaster, I played some Math Blaster educational games. Maybe you didn't. Yeah, it's cool and stuff.
No, we had some of those. My school had like super old, even then, computers with like
corner
math
gas,
quests on
the
it.
game.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's really stupid.
I do live in Letterkenny. So
Yeah.
just more East Coast Letterkenny.
My bad grammar. Well, yeah, I wanted to ask you. Okay, yeah, there were games. Something that I was just really curious about since we were talking about music and Incubus. Did you have like musical influences and stuff that you like your favorite bands or your favorite music,
Mm,
or no, you didn't
ooh.
listen to music.
I mean, yeah, I've never listened to music before in my life. No, I have like a massive list of musical influences. I feel like it's always such a struggle to choose like favorite genres or favorite music because like so much of it really depends, right? Like
Yeah,
some of my favorites are bands like Ministry, or Fleetwood Mac, which are really
yeah,
quite different
yeah.
in genre. But
That's
I
valid.
also have just like loved so much of what they have made. Like I feel like I'm really that annoying friend who loves everything.
No, that's
And people
fair.
are
I think a
like,
lot of people are
"Bunny,
like
listen to this
that.
music, you're gonna hate it." And I'm like, this is great. This is like Mongolian throat singing. This is incredible. Oh my gosh, the skill involved in this, I'm blown away. I just love human creativity. I think music is one of the coolest ways that humans like express thoughts and feelings and loves and emotions.
Same.
I don't know, it's neat.
It really transcends language sometimes, I feel like.
Even if I used to wear a mask and like get up to dance in bars when like a Fire Inside was playing.
I could see
I
that
still
very
also like
clearly.
classical music and chamber music. So
Oh, you like chamber music too.
I
Interesting.
used to play chamber music.
Really? Like on your trumpet or like on an
Yeah.
organ or okay.
I mean, I don't know how to play an organ. I did actually learn how to play the piano, so I guess I could maybe play an organ, but I haven't played the piano in a very long time. So
Same.
I can't make piano key noises with my face either. I'd be
You
like
can't.
boing, boing,
That's a
boing,
great piano.
boing, boing, boing. Boing 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 boing
Oh,
boing
that's
boing
a
boing boing boing
classic.
boing 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 boing.
Okay.
I'm gonna get more coffee.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some water. Some coffee.
Grapes.
Oh, thank you so much for the follows, by the way. And let me just take a short minute to say thank you, Spy Fox and Vest, for the subs and the gifted subs and the water redeem. Thank you. Is that Mela the Ghoul for a follow?
Hey,
Spoko Ren,
I'm gonna
Celine
reach through your
Star and
organs.
Dragon.
Oh,
Oh,
jeez!
jeez!
I'm stealing organ water. Organ water.
Um. Okay, so 90s and 80s anime. I haven't watched a ton. I've watched, I guess, old DBZ or like Sailor Moon. I guess that counts, right? Sailor
Mm-hmm.
Moon, like Fist of the North Star. I think when I was like an
I
angsty
feel
teenager.
I feel like what I ought to
Uh,
do
yeah,
is randomly switch outfits throughout this conversation
I
because a
think
lot
that's a
of
good
my
idea.
appreciation for 90s anime is expressed literally on stream by me and my models.
Oh, I love this. This
Because
is
Tuxedo Bun is very
Tuxedo
dramatic
Bun.
and so classy and also like, maybe a little bit romantic, who knows?
This is so
Which is
cute.
nice.
This is the
I
best
enjoy it. It's
Tuxedo
fun to be able
Bun.
to bring this sort of stuff in, right? Then I got a little sparkly hair and I get to dress up Blorp, which makes me really happy. It's just
Oh,
fun to
that's
do.
so cute. Aw.
Yeah, Blorp's got a little flower. It's just nice. I don't
Did
know.
you
I'm a doofus.
Tuxedo Mask was my favorite character for a while until I wanted to be more of a girl when I was older. But like, did
Hmm.
you have a favorite Sailor Moon character?
I mean, I think Tuxedo Mask was something that I really loved when I was small because like it was like the permissible way that I could be part of the sailor team.
Yeah, right.
Because it
That
turns
makes
out
sense.
I couldn't be Sailor Jupiter because I was supposed to be a boy. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe I felt that way too. Um,
yeah, turns out I was not a boy, but I was cleverly disguised as one for a while. So I mean, Sailor Moon was very much something I really loved. It was like one of the first like cartoons that I ever saw, I guess. Like sort of right on the edge of like things being more opened up to me. And it was one that was seen as so positive and so like feminist and all of that stuff for the 90s. So it was one I was cool to see. But there are so many other like very silly 80s things that I adore and that have inspired me in my models and stuff. Sorry, I'm just temporarily in this
yeah,
swimsuit.
what
I'll
is
just
this
take that
from
off in a
again?
moment here. Don't worry about it. But there's like Dirty Pair,
This is
really
Dirty
big fan
Pair.
of Dirty Pair, which is an 80s anime. I highly recommend. Don't bother with Dirty Pair Flash, it's fine. But like the original Dirty Pair series is
What is it
phenomenal.
about?
I
I
think you would
have no
really love
idea.
it.
What is it?
It's basically about like very silly girls doing silly girl adventures in space and screwing everything up. it's so much fun.
I like
I don't know how to explain it without like having to explain individual episodes, but
that's fair.
it's
Okay,
beautiful
you've
and it's
sold
very
me.
hilarious and it's just so positive and chaotic
Oh.
and so silly. I really adore it. And they have totally nonsensical outfits. Like this is one of the characters' outfits and it doesn't make any sense at all. She has like one rubber glove and like a silly
Oh, just
combat
one
romper. It's
rubber
just
glove. Yeah.
nonsense.
I love
Who
that.
dresses like this? Apparently
This
here
is
he
such a
does.
cute outfit. I love it.
And then also, I guess I also really enjoyed stuff like Bubblegum Crisis. So that's nice to be
I
able to
never
bring
watched
into to
Bubblegum
models and stuff too.
Crisis. Oh,
So that's another little
oh,
silly
that's so
80s anime
cute.
influence for me is to be able to do stuff like that. Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I want
know.
to see the whole.
It's just fun to like bring these sort of things into to different models,
And you make
right?
everything from scratch, don't you? You like.
Not always
Oh,
entirely from
okay.
scratch. For the most part, I make things from scratch. Sometimes I'll use references, or if I find like a starting point model that's like Creative Commons licensed or something like that, I might edit something that exists. But I do make all my models.
You do. How do you? I mean, this is such a complicated question. I guess I should ask. Do you like? I guess you just model them in Blender or Unity or something, like the clothes and stuff.
So I take what shortcuts I can.
Okay.
So my base model is VRoy that I've sort of like retextured and edited quite a bit in Blender. Sometimes I will get textures for like a VRoid model and put it on a VRoid model in VRoid, steal those clothes, turn it into like an actual 3D model so it has depth instead of like the paper craft kind of things that VRoid comes with, just to take shortcuts there. But I also really don't like their weight painting, so I usually just don't do that. I just model things in Blender like a doofus.
Yeah, I think everyone. I don't know. This is all so foreign to me because I don't. And also, sorry. I need to thank you everyone who's requesting off me, but I'm gonna go on red right now. No, nothing personal.
Oh yeah, I'm just ignoring mine.
Yeah.
My apologies,
No,
anyone.
yeah, I'm sorry. Where was I? Yeah. So, okay. Are there any other animes you recommend? 80s, 90s? Because it's such a cute aesthetic. I love. It looks so great on you. Like,
Why? Thank you. I don't know. It just feels more like an authentic and fun way to express myself. Like I never really felt
yeah.
like I was quite getting across what I wanted to when I was more modern anime styles. But something about the chunky retroness really works to me. And other 80s anime that I would recommend, ooh, probably, but off the top of my head, I'm not remembering them. I think big recommendations are Dirty Pair for sure. Sailor
Okay.
Moon, Bubblegum Crisis. I mean, there's also like tons of stuff like Evangelion or whatever if you're into that. Um, I say as a doofus who continuously plays the Evangelion theme on trumpet like every 5 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know that there's tons out there. There's like yeah, tons of space pirate news and things. There are many options. I think like it's just worth exploring some of that retro stuff. Like you could watch like what Gunbuster, Diebuster. There's like very weird things like Fooly Cooly. There's Lupin the Third, which obviously I'm a really
Oh.
huge fan of, being that Fujiko is like a hair model for me. There are
Oh.
tons of retro animes.
How did you get started watching? Because I know you didn't watch TV as a kid. Like, were you older, like a teenager
Oh my
or
gosh.
something?
I had like possibly the worst introduction to anime possible for someone who was in the midst of figuring out their gender, which is that I was introduced to anime through Ranma One Half, which
Oh,
is a show
yeah,
about a
right.
character
I
who like
never
pops into
watched
different temperatured
that.
water and like
And they turn
swaps
to a
between
girl
the
into
two
yeah, right.
binary genders. And it doesn't handle it great, but it's very
Oh,
silly and there's
okay.
some like weird sort of like etchy stuff in it. And
Um,
I did not have a good impression of anime after that, I have to admit.
yeah, okay.
But I'm glad I popped back in a couple years later to rewatch Sailor Moon and then watch some other stuff. And I was like, okay, this is actually pretty rad.
Cool. I never watched that
Now I have a
series.
paid Crunchyroll
You have a
subscription. Oh
paid
my
Crunchyroll
goodness.
subscription. Wait, what are you watching right now? Are you watching modern
I mean,
animes?
I'm a little bit behind on Gundam, but I've been
Mm,
watching like a whole bunch of stuff on the Crunchyrolls. I mostly watch like older stuff where I can see the whole series. I really bad at watching something while it's still coming out because like I catch up and then I forget about it for 6 months.
that's fair. I do that too.
So yeah.
Yeah. Do you like sushi? This is so random. Do you like Crunchy rolls? Do you eat sushi? Are you a vegetarian?
So I'm not entirely a vegetarian. I mostly eat vegetables, but maybe
Oh,
like
okay.
once a week. Although to be honest, it's more like once every 2 weeks. I'll eat like some bacon or some piece of meat.
That's
So I'm
fair. Oh,
vegetarian-esque.
is that like
I
a health reason or a moral reason? Because I know you have
I don't know. It's just a thing
it's
I
your thing.
do,
It's
to
a
be
thing you do.
honest.
Okay,
Like
that's fair.
a lot of
I'm
what I
just
do
curious.
is health reasons because I'm really limited in what I can eat, right?
Yeah.
Which is really frustrating as someone who mostly eats vegetarian that I can't eat like, I can't eat kale, I can't eat broccoli or
Oh,
any of that
really?
stuff.
Oh.
Nope, my insides will be very upset with me for
Oh.
well, I guess my immune system will be very upset with me. I don't know. It's a complicated circumstance. Just
I
you,
believe
you can look
you.
up what colitis is.
Yeah, I believe you.
It sucks.
Oh.
Um, but I have to be very intentional and careful with what I do eat. So basically, I eat a lot of like rice and eggs.
Okay,
And
so you can eat
sometimes
eggs.
I'll make something a little bit nicer, like sushi for sure. I really love sushi.
Yeah, what do you put in your
Like,
sushi?
well, it really depends what I'm going for. I'll put fish in sometimes. Sometimes I'll put in
Okay,
like
so you can have
carrots and
some fish.
avocado
That sounds
or
good.
like not avocado. I guess also avocado. But it's the my brain is failing me on an entire vegetable. I guess tempura yam is one of my favorites to make
Oh,
like a
that sounds
tempura yam
so
sushi
good.
roll with
Oh
like
my
some cucumber
God,
and
it made
stuff
me
in
so
there. It's so
hungry.
good. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that sounds yummy. Hey, what did you have? What did you have before you came on? Did you have a snack besides your
I
coffee?
did, yes. I made a really quick omelet.
That sounds good. What do you put in your omelets?
I put in vegan cheese and I put in onions and garlic.
Oh, garlic, so good. I've been trying to learn how to cook recently, trying to get better at cooking. Do you mince your own
Yeah,
garlic? You just have a
I'm happy
store.
to share different
I
things that
would
I cook
love.
because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
so
Let's
limited
get
in
into
my
that. Food
capacity,
is.
right? Like we could make
Yeah.
food together sometime on Discord. That could be really fun.
Oh, I would
But
love
I
that.
have to sort of figure out stuff that I'm able to eat that I can make quickly. So I have lots of like quick
Right.
recipes that I
Yeah.
do.
Can you want to share some? I
Um,
think food's so universal. I love
yeah,
talking about.
totally. I mean,
Yeah.
bread is probably my favorite
Oh, you like
thing
to bake your own
possible.
bread?
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
baking
What
bread's
kind of
amazing.
bread?
Yes. I mean, sourdough is
Yeah.
the easy
Yes. I was gonna
go-to
say
for it, but
sourdough is my
there's so
favorite.
many different options for
Yeah.
bread, right? Like, well, I'll go on bread topics in a moment. But
I
I
love
don't know.
it.
I feel like food is so important, and it's something that there's so
It's
many people
pretty.
who are
It's what I
like, it's
hear.
like one of the main things that we need to do to survive. Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
also something that I think folks who are in the online spaces or who are otherwise really busy tend to really like kind of neglect
Yeah.
is food. And some of that is because they might live in a food desert or maybe they didn't learn to cook or they weren't
Yeah.
given the space to do so or the equipment to do so. Or they don't have time to do so because we're all trying not to starve to death under a capitalist hellscape. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to find the time to really like sit there and prepare food. And I
Yeah.
find for me that's something I really struggle with for the longest time was doing it for myself. I would always have to prepare food for
Yeah.
other people. Otherwise, I would just like snack and
This
be
is
sick.
extremely
So,
relatable. Yeah.
because I wouldn't put the time into it. I'd be like, well, it's not really worth it to me to make food for myself. I gotta make food for other people.
Yeah.
It turns out it is worth it to make food for myself, and I can also sometimes make food for my spouse wife, which is good too.
That's really nice. Is there something that you make for her that she likes? Do you have like a signature
Well, I
thing
mean,
you like
her
to?
favorite food is something that I probably shouldn't eat very much, which is just like straight up grilled cheese dipped in tomato soup.
Oh, that sounds so good, but probably not the best for you, I
So
guess.
she also has like her own way of making it, and I have my own way of making it. So we
All
compete, I
right.
guess, and which one is better. I think mine is better, clearly. Um,
Okay. Wait, what makes yours better? Because it's you.
I'm trying to remember the exact difference. I mean, I guess like I butter both sides of it and then I fry it in the
Yes, that's what
pan
I
and like flip it
hear.
and do all of that stuff. I'll often add like stuff to it, like a bunch of herbs and
What?
spices and things.
That sounds
I
so
made like a
good.
paprika grilled cheese recently that turned out to be really good. I didn't expect that
That
to be
sounds
good, but I was like, I got
incredible.
paprika. Let's see what it
This,
does.
yeah. I haven't tried paprika on a grilled cheese. I've always liked that. And I like the
It
movie.
was pretty all right to be honest. I mean, there was also like bacon on there, so it was like
Oh,
there
that's
was
so
a whole
good.
mix of flavors going
Wait, what
in.
part of this equation's not good for you? The tomato soup or the bread or the cheese or
Cheese
the
because
cheese? Oh,
I
because
can't have
you
dairy.
use actual cheese for it, not vegan
Yeah, I mean,
cheese.
it's vegan cheese is hard to get. I live in the woods,
You do live
so
in the woods.
I live in the middle of
Why?
nowhere. I want bunny.
It's fair. Did you always grow up in like a rural woodsy area
No,
or
I
like you
didn't. I
kind
mean,
of
when
moved
I was very
out
small,
there?
yes. But then for much of my adult life, I lived in one of the biggest cities in so-called Canada.
And so called Canada. So called. Interesting. Is there a reason why you kind of do you? Do you find it just more quiet and peaceful there, or is it like? Sorry.
I guess I really love living in rural spaces and rural communities. I love being close to nature and surrounded by it, and I love sort of being able
Yeah.
to like get to know the people around me. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And also, spouse wife was homesick,
Oh, okay. That
so
makes a
I
lot of
wanted to be
sense
closer
too.
to where she's from and where she lives.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm just so curious about your life, so thank you for telling me. What else? What are some of your other favorite recipes that you like? I need some ideas. These are all great.
Okay, what are quick things that I do? I guess because I'm so reliant on rice and eggs, so much of it is going to be like rice bowls that include
That's
eggs on it.
awesome. Yeah.
So tons of different ways to make like fried rice. Highly recommend.
Oh, yeah.
I make like breakfast rice pretty often, where you make like that sauce mix, and then you like crack your egg into the rice, and you mix up the rice with chopsticks or fork or something, and it, like
What do you?
the heat from the rice cooks the egg.
Yeah.
That is like a such a time savory simple meal for me when I'm low on capacity. So I have it pretty often.
Wait, can you just crack an egg in like a bowl of like steaming hot rice? Like, no, you don't have
Yeah,
to.
totally. You
It'll
gotta
cook
like
like
mix it
that.
up, but it cooks like super fast. Yeah,
Oh, that's like such a good idea.
it's good with soy sauce, or it's good. There's like
Yeah.
some special sauces
What's
you can
that
make for
sauce
it.
that you
It's
did? You
good.
just said some kind of sauce that you
I
made.
never remember what it's called.
Oh, okay. You just said sauce mix and you
I will have
glazed
to.
over
There's
really
like
quickly.
a
What do you mean
specific sauce you're
mix?
supposed to make with this. That's really tasty. I
Okay.
don't remember what it's called. I just have soy sauce.
Soy sauce is good. No.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? Sorry, I'm like, I need to know all these food things because I'm eating like gravel and gruel over here. I'm like, I'm taking
Oh no, girls! I'm gonna send you
this
soup over the
gruel.
internet. Um. Okay, I'm trying to think of other very simple kind of recipes. So you probably eat more meat than I do,
Probably.
and there's lots of very simple and easy ways to like prepare meat, especially if you're doing like a marinade or something like that. That can be very low capacity and easy to do. Where you start it early in the day. Like a slow cooker can be really good for that too. Or you could make curries. Curries are pretty low energy, especially if you're getting like a pre-made curry mix, or you just get paste and you're adding like coconut milk and stuff to it. Curries are pretty common go-to for me when I choose like a day to be a meat day. I'm like, and it's now a matzaman curry day. It's like a
Oh,
peanut curry.
Mossman curry is so good. I'm sorry.
Mm.
This is just
Potatoes
selfish.
in
There's
it.
really,
Yeah, your whole chunks of peanuts, and that's so good. Oh my
uh,
gosh. Oh
getting
man, I'm gonna be hungry
so.
now.
I'm
I
really
do have
hungry.
pizza for later. I'm gonna
You
have pizza
do?
today.
Wait, can you have pizza?
No, I have lactose
No,
pills.
yeah, what? Oh. Well, hopefully it doesn't hurt you too bad. What kind of pizza are you having?
It's just simple vegetarian. It's got like
Just
peppers and
peppers
stuffs
and
on it. Yeah.
what does stuffs
Mostly
mean?
onions. It's mostly onions. I
I
didn't
love
make it. It's just like a
onions.
pile of
Oh,
onions with some peppers in there. I'm like, all right,
okay.
pizza chef,
That
go
sounds
off, I
good.
guess. Super oniony pizza.
Okay, I'll stop ducking the list of questions that I have for you.
Yeah. What is the next question on the list of questions?
Well, I feel like we've already gone into I think how you go about building your community, but is there? Okay, I did want to ask you kind of a specific question, which just ties into, by trying to set boundaries and stuff. Have you ever had somebody? Shane, you don't have to answer this if you don't feel comfortable, but like, have you ever had somebody kind of vie for your affection and kind of get upset when you haven't been paying enough attention to them? And like, they do the thing where they message you, and then like 3 minutes later, they do question mark, question mark, question mark. And you're like, oh gosh. I feel like that
Oh yeah,
happens.
and then they're like 10 minutes later, they're like, I guess you don't care about
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
Like I
You're
was like
like,
in the washroom. What are you
yeah,
doing,
yeah,
bud?
yeah. Like, do you have a strategy for that kind of thing?
I guess I attempt to be as clear as I can be as often as I can be with what my boundaries are. And if someone doesn't respect them, I just don't answer.
I think that's the way to go. I just close those DMs if but I ask because I think that a lot of streamers deal with that. And I mean, not just streamers, but people deal with that. And sometimes it's just so hard. I don't want to be mean, right? I don't want to be super rude, but sometimes
Yeah, of course,
silence is the
absolutely.
best response.
And I usually simply like reaffirm something where I'll be like, yeah, I mean, like my DMs are open, but I'm slow at this. Like it says so in my Discord profile. Like
You
I
may be
will
slow
see
to
your DM
respond.
eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll respond. Chances are I like talking with people, but like I'm not on call. So I don't think it's a reasonable expectation that I or anyone else would be. It's not like I have office hours where the office is open. You
Yeah.
can spend 25 cents for lemonade and psychological advice or something. I don't know.
Oh, that was a Peanuts reference, you guys. That was a Peanuts reference.
Yeah.
I think and Lucy was my mom's favorite character for some reason. I don't know why. She loved Lucy. It's really random. She used to call. I think she used to call me Charlie Brown once. She was upset with it.
Charlie, it's because you're bald.
Yeah, it's because I'm bald. You're bald, Charlie Brown.
Oh no!
I'm
bullying old girls by accident.
No.
Oh no!
She used to, her and my grandma, they'd be like, "I want to shave your head so you look like Charlie Brown." I'm like, no.
Oh no!
They were so cute. They were so
Crying.
cute. Though. It was never malicious. What was I about to say? Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if you struggle with this because it feels like you have a very rich social life. I mean, you got your wife and you got Dork Tales, you got IRL friends, I'm sure. I mean, you do have a lot of IRL friends. Have you had it hard to balance as you've been growing as a streamer and content creator, like your personal life? And I mean, you seem like you're really good at separating those two things. I'm not sure, like, because I find
I guess
really hard to
I do my best on it. It definitely is a challenge sometimes, though, right? Like, I don't know. It's streaming is so weird. It's so amazing. It's so wonderful. You get to meet so many amazing and wonderful people. And then when it becomes something that you're doing as like part of your income, boy howdy, is it strange.
Yeah.
Because
I
like
feel that so much.
it adds such a different angle on it. And I think it's so easy to end up like super burned out on it and pursuing like certain success metrics and all of that stuff.
Right.
And to feel like, you know, as part of that, you really need to be like networking and interacting with everyone possible and like making sure even the weird people who are yelling slurs feel welcome because they might give you $4. It's like there's so much pressure to like focus on all of that stuff. And I hate that. I hate that shit.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And I guess like it absolutely does become a bit of a thing, right? Like my schedule, at least until my ISP started breaking, which I guess I should warn you, if we somehow go for another 3.5 hours, I'll probably lose internet. I'll probably have dead trackers.
It happens every so.
Yeah, every single day at a certain time.
Yeah,
my upload
told
speed
me
just sort of fails to exist. It's ridiculous. But until that happened, I was mostly streaming evenings my time, right? Which means that a lot of my evenings IRL are booked. So there's a bit of a change on my social schedule and all of that stuff. I think it's a weird thing to schedule around because I feel like for a lot of folks who are connected to it, they see it as very frivolous, where they're like, oh, well, you could just do that tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, but no, I can't. Like I have a schedule. These are the things that I do. It's like expected. Like I already probably miss a stream every week or every 2 weeks due to being chronically ill anyways. And I want to do my best to actually like follow that schedule and be predictable and build space and get to see these amazing and wonderful people that I get to see every couple of days. But I feel like a lot of IRL people don't take it as like a serious thing because it's like,
yeah, right.
It's a stream thing, right? So
have you, and I think all of us, not just streamers, but people in VR or into technology. What? Are you okay? Are you dying?
Sorry, yeah, I'm just dying a little bit. It's all right.
Do you want to get hold of? I'm going to take a water break. Do you have? I know you.
Yeah, water break sounds good.
Hot water with honey? Question mark? Isn't that what you said? Is your
maybe a little bit of lemon?
A little bit of lemon.
The old muscle tension dysphonia cocktail. No, it's just nice for your throat.
It's really. Have you ever had a difficult time, and I'm sure I know what the answer is, but have you ever had a difficult time explaining streaming and VR and stuff to like IRL friends? It's like one of the hardest things ever. Yeah,
absolutely. I often just don't even explain the VR part. And just
Okay,
like, yeah,
yeah.
I do like streaming and community building, and I do my best to build like a welcoming, inclusive kind of space and like an online ecosystem that doesn't have enough of that. And they're like, okay, sure, that sounds like something you would do, carry on.
Yeah.
And then if I'm like, I'm also like a 90s anime bunny
Yeah,
girl and I wear like
yeah.
a wildly expensive VR headset where I have trackers across my body so I can stick my leggy out, that part a lot of people don't follow.
It's really hard. I mean, even now, even though VR is getting a little bit more popular, it's so hard to explain unless somebody experiences it themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and then even folks who've experienced VR often like aren't experiencing this end of it. Like a lot of
Yeah.
them have a Quest and they play Beat Saber or they do stuff like that, and they assume that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, sure, I freaking love Synth Riders. The game is amazing. I
Yeah.
play it almost every week at this point. Um, but
But
that's
it's
for like an hour
not.
and 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's really hard. I had a good friend. Their name is T, and we've been friends since we were like 13. We were pen pals, and I've been trying for years and years to get them into VR and like VR chat specifically. And it didn't. It took them like I think like 50 or 100, maybe like 100 hours before they got what I was trying to say, like how amazing and inclusive and like how wonderful it is just to spend
mm,
time with people in the comfort of your own home and like be able to see yourself as like a cute anime girl or whatever. I don't know. It is hard to explain. And it's hard to explain like that quality time that you get to spend with people and being silly. And
yeah, I think it's true. I feel like that's actually something that, like, total side topic conversation here. Like, something that I struggle with VR is that I really struggle with immersion.
mm,
So
yeah,
I feel like I'm always kind of chasing it a little bit, right? Like my avatar looks like IRL me, but in a 90s anime style. Like
yeah,
my head proportions are probably not quite this large because it turns out I'm not a 90s anime character.
yeah.
But I still kind of feel like I'm looking at my own reflection when I see myself in the camera. My proportions are like vaguely accurate, at least when it comes to where my hands and feet and butt is. Like those are like sort of ways that I'm trying to like immerse myself and feel more present in the space because I love spending time with people in VR chat, and feeling like they're like actually there. Like I'm sitting next to my friend Girlsy right now. We're across the world, but we're still next to each other. And I freaking love that feeling. And I feel like it's something that I'm always trying to like do my best to be able to experience and embrace because it's so cool. So I started to
Yeah.
build my models around that. Because
I
otherwise
love
I'm
your
too much of a
model.
blender doofus and I'm like, oh, interesting weight painting on your cheeks there. I like how that works. How fascinating. Tell me about that shader. Interesting. So
Does
pull
your
out the magnifying glass.
This is really does your wife ever play VR? Does she ever get it, or is she like
No, she
yeah,
doesn't.
not at all? Okay. Does she know you stream?
Yes. I mean, she's a moderator, actually.
Okay.
Has
Well, yeah, I've
moderation
seen her.
activities sometimes. Yeah. She'll show up and chat on occasion and then okay, my favorite part though is so this is like something that so community on this one. But it feels like a lot of people in community interpret like my wife appearing in chat or something as like a serious situation because she often
Wait,
like pops up
what?
when I like when my computer crashes or something.
Oh.
And if my phone's like on the moon and I can't like quickly pop in and be like, hey, I'm just rebooting, she'll pop into chat to be like, hey, bunny crash and we'll be back in a moment. So now whenever she's around, a lot of people seem to get like really nervous. And it's very funny because she is like the softest and sweetest being in the whole hacking world. Just like the least frightening person ever. But that a lot of people have this reaction of like, oh my gosh, it's the bunny's wife.
Balance just that we get happy when spouse appears. I'm always super happy whenever they appear. Even it's been very rare
Yeah.
for me. But the harbinger, I don't know, they're
The
harbinger.
harbinger. The harbinger.
I have a mean nickname. um,
The harbinger. Oh my goodness.
oh. I mean, I had two more questions I was gonna ask you in this list, and we can go through them. And I feel
What are
like
the what wait,
what
which ones have we done? I don't even know.
Well, we've done how did you get started in VR? How did you get started streaming? What sort of stuff were you doing before VR? I think you did tell me, you pretty much have told me who your creative inspirations and influences have been, right?
I suppose, yeah.
And we did talk about how you kind of go about building your community, kind of just an inclusive space. But I was gonna follow up on that. Like, is there What was your
Sure.
prepared answer for that question?
My prepared answer. I'll go through my exact notes and read them line by line. So first of all, 70,000 years ago, when biology first was wiggly. No, I mean, I feel like when it comes to building my community, I guess like I do my best to be like actively visible. Wait, where's your camera? You've moved your
It's
camera.
right here. Yeah,
Nice.
you know me.
Okay. My Discord window is there, so I wanted to make sure that it hadn't like gone to space.
Okay.
But I feel like because what I'm really trying to do with the community building is building a welcoming and inclusive kind of space for people like me and people who are other due to like racialization or disability or any of that sort of stuff, right? And I feel like one of the main things that I do is I try to be like actively visible and like actively inclusive and like try to support people in big dumb gaybo like I don't know, like thinking about my community, I guess on some level I know it wouldn't have formed without my presence, or at least not in the same way. But I really feel like it's made itself, right? Like it's made possible by so many amazing people within it who also want to help build like a more welcoming and inclusive and rad space for nerds. Like there's folks like the moderation team who I can never, to be honest, I can never thank enough for like I don't know, I would give them like $7 billion if I could, as well as like, but I think like a key part for me is that I feel like every other person in the community helps to make it what it is, right? Like they bring in this amazing vibe and presence, and there's just so much love and mutual support and aid and kindness going on in there that it's like the coolest thing in the world. And I love them so much. It's really nice. Like I feel like in some ways it's like a self-supporting and generating community. And like I said, I know it probably wouldn't have been the same if I didn't exist. Maybe it would have happened somewhere else. Who knows? But like I feel like I am only very partially responsible for it.
I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever?
I don't.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, you go first.
Oh no, you go first.
No, you go first.
No,
I'm
you-
Canadian. I'll win this one.
Okay. I was gonna say, have you? I think I know the answer to this question because I think you've met Chocolate. Have you met people from VR, like IRL and stuff? Like, you met Chocolate, right? Is that true, or am I imagining that?
Yeah, I've met Aki as well.
Oh, you met Aki VR. Aki VR. Was this in the place that they're from? That city.
The place that they're from, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Because
And I've met other folks too.
you have. Are you gonna? That's how did that go? Was that fun? Was that super exciting?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, unfortunately, I think when I was meeting like Aki and Chocolate and them in Play City that they're in,
You were busy.
I wasn't in Play City for like a fun reason. I was there for like a medical reason for someone
Yeah, I remember
near and dear to
telling
me.
me that.
And so I was very stressed.
Oh, I hope that went well.
But it was still really amazing to see them, and being able to like spend a little bit of time with them was a really, really nice relief. So
Okay. I hope to meet you one day. No pressure or anything, but I've been.
I mean,
meaning
I
a
think
lot.
that'd be amazing. I think like
Yeah.
I would really, really love to make it to a TwitchCon. Like I was strongly considering
Yeah.
trying to go to one
God, I'd
for
love
these
to
two that
see you
are
at
coming up, but they're
TwitchCon.
so expensive
They
for
really,
me.
yeah.
Like
God,
traveling
yeah,
from
'cause
Eastern
you're-
Canada is so rough to get anywhere.
to
Like
either
going,
get to NA
going to
or
Vegas it
or
sucks. Going to Paris sucks just
Yeah,
as much as
that
going
sucks.
to Vegas.
Oh, I hope I can. Well, I'll try to
Yeah,
get
maybe
closer
one
to you.
day. Maybe
Is
one
it hard
day.
to get to
I feel like
Montreal?
there are many people that I want to meet in IRL and just like scoop, and you're one of them if you're up for being scooped. So.
I would love that. Well, I don't know how close this is to you exactly. Probably not close at all, but I do have a lot of friends in Quebec and that area. Not maybe not Eastern Canada, but in Quebec.
I mean, Quebec's not like that far away. I mean, it is,
It's
but it's
far.
not like undoably far. It's like I can drive to Montreal in a day. So
Wait, how long's the drive? Like 8 hours?
it's like a day.
A day, like 24 hours? Oh gosh.
No, but like not too far from it.
Oh gosh,
you're,
that's
taking
all.
time.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. We'll plan in advance. I want to do a big
I guess usually I would
Montreal.
stop somewhere sort of like on the border, like when you get into like Eastern Quebec. There's
Yeah.
like there's places in New Bruns to stop in.
Oh yeah, like where? Where'd you get like fudge? I don't know what you get there, like a lodge.
There's
or
like
something?
nothing up there, but yeah, basically a lodge. Yeah.
I'm not gonna talk. Wait, okay. Are we really gonna talk about Spermit? What is Spermit? One of Benoit's dreams is to meet Spermit as
Spermit.
Bongmaster. I can. All right.
Vote Spermit. He'll come for us all. Spermit is a cursed creation of Bongmaster. It is a white
Oh,
Kermit.
okay.
And a
I can
unit.
imagine. I can imagine what it would be because it rhymes
Yeah.
with Kermit.
I mean, to me, I don't hate Spermit, Bongmaster. For the record, I don't hate Spermit, but also
Oh,
it's deeply cursed.
it does feel deeply cursed. It's not something I'd dress my kids up in on Halloween. You know.
Yes.
I don't even know what it looks like, but I could imagine very clearly what it would be. Um, you don't like poutine, do you? You like poutine?
Mm-hmm.
You do.
I mean, you can't have cheese curds, but
Yeah.
I often make like a knockoff vegan poutine. I make like a vegan gravy,
Yeah.
and then I have like
Smart.
vegan cheese, or I just like forget cheese exists, just have a bunch of gravy.
That's fair.
With French fries.
Gravy is really yummy. Oh, that sounds good. Wait, what is vegan gravy? What do you put in that?
I
Ham?
usually make vegan gravy with like a soup mix. So like, cause you can make like a fake gravy really easily with like, okay, what do you gotta make a roux, you gotta have some flour, you gotta have some margarine and probably some like sauces and things like that. And then you probably need some like your like vegan Dorcas dairy or some equivalent like that. Or I guess usually what I would just use is soup. So I would use like a vegetarian soup broth and I would mix that in to make like actual soup, put that in with the roux, add some soy sauce to it to give it some coloring and a bit of a tanginess. And you can make like a really nice gravy. There's actually like a snack section of my Discord and I have posted this gravy recipe in there
Oh,
before.
snacks. Snacks. Oh man.
Getting
that's
some
so-
water,
I want
speaking of
some
snacks.
right now.
You should get some snacks.
I think
Snacks
I
are
will. I think I
important.
will after we're done. And I think we're at least getting to the end of this list, and I am getting so
Okay,
hungry.
okay.
But
But you may underestimate my power to talk for 7 hours.
I don't underestimate
which is
that at
actually not there
all.
because I will run out of words.
don't
I
underestimate
did straight up
that
do
at
like
all.
vocal prep today just because I knew I was going to be talking for so long.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you streamed, and then now you're here. And what are your trackers like right now? I'm just curious.
They are at 28%
Okay,
and 30%
perfect.
for the hand trackers.
I think that's perfect.
I think we'll be good. Yeah, they'll last like at least an hour.
Okay, cool, awesome. You're both adorable. Thank you. You are adorable, and I got
You're
to meet Sarah.
adorable.
You're adorable. I got to meet Sarah. No, dox them, but in Texas, we had breakfast. That was really good. It was lovely meeting you, Sarah. So I was gonna ask you about what you're like. What are you doing? And this is official. Oh, girls, question.
What are you
What
doing?
kind of stuff are you doing now in VR? Do you have any goals or plans for the present or the future with your content?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Awesome.
like I was saying, I mostly am doing like what feels like a glorified just chatting kind of stream with like a cool VR coat of paint. But I also really love trying to highlight like indie games, in particular queer ones. Like I just
Yeah.
played Life After Magic yesterday, as well as a couple weeks ago before the new DLC came up for it, which is like a
What is
free, really
that?
amazing queer like ex magical girls come together to save the world, very Sailor Moon kind of visual novel. Freaking
like
adore
that.
it. It's so much fun to be able to share stuff like that with folks on stream and to like highlight like independent game creators, right? Like I don't have a very big platform, but I want to use it to do cool stuff like that if I can.
Have you played? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And then like I'm trying to think of what else I do. Like I guess I do my best to build a warm, welcoming, and inclusive
I think that's
space,
more than enough.
right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like
that.
I want everyone, like excluding those who would make the space unwelcome for others due to bigotry, to feel and seen and welcome and heard and like a part of the space and community if they want to be. I don't know. Like I feel like I was saying a little bit of this earlier, but I feel like the wider Twitch and like even outside of Twitch, like the wider VTubing community, and the internet spaces, has that there are a lot of people who can feel very unwelcome there, whether they're like neurodivergent or disabled or queer, trans or racialized, being a big one. And I think like doing all of the support work stuff that I've done has taught me that like if you work to build a space as like actively inclusive to those who are most likely to be excluded due to marginalization elsewhere. You will make that space more inclusive and welcoming to everyone. And that's I think is a really important approach to any kind of community space. Like focusing on those who would feel unwelcome due to bigotry elsewhere, you'll make your space amazing for everyone.
Yeah.
Except for that one exception of populist paradox of tolerance of like weird fascists probably shouldn't feel welcome. But
Right.
but like I don't know, like I guess what I'm doing is I'm hanging out and chatting and talking with people, and sometimes I play silly games, sometimes I pretend I'm giving them coffee through the internet, sometimes we do indie games, sometimes we do horror games, but not very often because I'm scared of them.
Oh,
And I just
same.
try to have fun and get to catch up with how people are doing and give them hopefully a space where they can authentically be and share themselves. And it's just nice.
It
And
is
sometimes I'll
really
read them a
nice.
bedtime story and we'll go
Oh,
have a little nap.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you take a lot of naps?
No.
Oh, I do.
I'm not very good at napping.
Oh. Do you get a good like 8 hours at night? How much sleep do you get every night?
I kind of have insomnia,
Oh,
or my body
that's
wakes me up because it's like, by the way, you are
I'm
in crippling pain.
oh no.
No, no,
I'm not in crippling pain, but I do have insomnia too. It sucks.
it's no fun. Not my favorite jam.
Mm, yeah.
Do you do anything to try to like mitigate insomnia?
I like cry. Oh, no. Does that
Oh
I like I'll be sad at
no, girl.
4
Okay, but
a.m.
also
Does that
valid.
help?
But also valid.
Does that help? I just get up and do something, and I'm lucky enough where I can take a nap later. But it is a
Okay, that's
problem I'm
good. Yeah.
dealing with. I'll just
I feel like actually this even connects back to how I kind of try to approach stream is that when I can't sleep, I listen to, and this is like almost every night at this point, I just listen to it just in case. I play podcasts like Sleep With Me, which is like a really cozy,
oh,
like put it on in the background, ignore this mumbly guy's voice, distract your ADHD dork brain kind of cozy
it's
podcast.
called Sleep With Me. Is it
Mhm.
specifically for that to fall asleep to?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And I think like they're kind of inspiring to me because they
That's
do their best to
amazing. I'll have
be
to
like
check that
inclusive and
out.
welcoming as part of their thing. And they're also just trying to build like a relaxing and distracting space where you can just vibe and hopefully fall asleep or not. And that's also definitely something that I kind of do with stream. And hopefully maybe with a
Yeah.
podcast project, but my capacity has been limited due to my body being a bud. So
Oh
we shall
yeah.
see
Do you
there.
want to talk about somebody was mentioning your podcast? Yeah, podcast like attractive snorts. Somebody.
Oh, I did that with with Miss Dance. That was fun. We did a few episodes. There's a
Oh,
lot like this where we were just chatting.
yeah.
There's another podcast project I've been working on for a bit that's more bedtime story focused. But it's
Oh,
gonna take me I think
that's
some time before I'm able to really get in and finish that off and like polish it
yeah.
and get it out
Can
there.
you tell me
But
more about that? What is?
I can tell you the
No.
general
Okay.
concept for
Yeah.
it. No, you're not. The general concept. So very often on stream, I have a routine which is to like read a bedtime story. And so I aim for stories that are like 5 minutes long. Sometimes they're more like 10, but usually we're aiming like a 5 minute story, just so that it's like a small part of stream, but it's not like gonna take over an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
But every now and again, someone sends me a story that's like a much longer form one, and I'm like, "Oh, I would really love to read this, but it's gonna take like 40 minutes to read.
Yeah.
And so I want to build a space where I can read those.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good idea.
And
Yeah.
also because I like multitasking, I'm hoping to be able to use it to highlight a bunch of amazing musicians.
Mm,
But that's the next step once I got the rest of it organized and partially edited.
yeah. What? Oh, I was just sorry. I got this because I was thinking like, I mean, you're so distracted with your job, IRL, obviously, and are there
Which
any other?
I do very little stuff outside of stream at this point.
Oh,
I
okay.
do
I
some,
see.
but much less than I did before. Stream has enabled me to not quite always focus on it, but to be able to focus on it much more.
So is
Because my
this?
capacity is more limited than someone who's not chronically ill, right? So
Yeah. 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 I laughed. Yeah. That's so,
yeah.
um. Yeah, sleeping is hard to go back because it's hard. I don't know. Have you always dealt with insomnia? I feel like I have
hmm
for a long
I used to have to take
time.
meds to sleep when I was a kid.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm okay at falling asleep, but then I'll like wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning, like 4 or 3 hours in, and I'll just
Oh,
I
that's not
can't.
fun.
Yeah, and I just can't sleep, and I'm like, let me think about my ex-girlfriend or so. Let me think about this thing of someone mean to me
Oh,
said. I don't want to get sad, but I'm like, oh, just lay here to be sad.
come on, girlsy.
But
I'm
I'll
sorry.
get it. No, don't be sorry. I was talking about this earlier, and I think a lot of people just have problems sleeping. I don't know what it is in our brain that gets like, for me anyway, I feel like it's just probably because I'm so tired and I'm like kind of emotionally vulnerable at night. I don't know. I
Mm.
tend to gravitate towards more just, what do they say? Depresso, or like depressing thoughts. I don't know. But anyway, it's not
I
about
mean,
me.
I think that's fair though, right? Like we are typically a little bit more vulnerable emotionally at night. Like we're resting, we're not distracted. We have
Yeah.
space where there isn't anything else going on around us. We can like, I sometimes describe it as like holding something up against a boulder of like thoughts. Sorry, I got a cough again, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna mute myself on Discord. One
No, I
moment.
like to hear. No, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, oh, no, my heart.
There we go. Imagine having words. There we go. Brilliant.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, like, where was I? I was talking about being more vulnerable because we're not distracted, right? So I guess like there's a lot of folks who I feel have something that they're really feeling anxious about, or they're worried about, or they've been traumatized by. And the way that these things work is that they're sort of like always being brought up, right? Like if it's something that you haven't
Yeah.
processed, your brain's going to be like, "Hey, you ready to process this yet? It's the amygdala here in the 1920s." And they're just going to start bringing that stuff up, right? And if there isn't something that's there to distract you, it's really normal for that kind of stuff to come up in that moment. And for a
Yeah.
lot of people, because there's so much happening in our lives otherwise these days, where we're at work, then we're making food, then we're making food for other people, then we're watching our soaps or whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
Really, the only moment that we have no distractions at all is like while we're supposed to be asleep. And that sort of reminds you, like, hey, by the way,
Right.
you know that like traumatic experience you had, or you know that like ex you're not over, or you know that like concern you
Yeah.
have, that anxiety you've been feeling. Yeah, that's still here, by the way.
Oh,
Welcome to it now.
yeah. Yeah. Wow, it's like
And I feel
amazing
like
explanation of it.
if
Yeah.
that's sort of the cause for someone who's really struggling to sleep, I think like trying to find space to meditate and like looking into mindfulness and stuff like that outside of when you're trying to sleep could be really beneficial.
Yeah.
But it would really depend on your situation.
I think this is all very helpful. Yeah. Sometimes I just
You're
forget
very
to
helpful.
breathe
Your
too. You're
face is
very
very
helpful.
helpful.
You're very helpful.
Oh, sometimes you just forget to do the other thing when you like wake up and you're like,
It's not that bad. I don't have sleep apnea. I just mean like day to day. I'm like on my computer desk and I notice I'm anxious and it's because I'm like hunched over like this or something and I'm like
yeah.
not breathing properly. I'm like, oh,
And
okay.
your body is like, for some reason we are slowly suffocating. Panic button?
Yeah.
Please notice. And you're like, I feel very panicky oh my gosh, I forgot about oxygen. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, which seems to have very, very. Anyway, so I got distracted by someone in the chat whose first message is, I am Russian. I am Russian. I feel like I've gotten that message a couple times before, and I'm always so bewildered. Hello, Fosh. Welcome from Russia. Welcome. Привет, as they say, right? Привет. I was gonna, I was gonna ask you this a long time ago, but it's really more just indicative of us being similar in age. Did you ever have an emo phase in high school? I guess we all did, even past high
I mean, a
school.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I might have been more like goth, but
Oh,
like
really?
not very
You're a
good
goth
at
goth?
it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I
Interesting.
attempted.
Wait, how'd
I don't
you
know if I really nailed that one, but I put in a small
Yeah.
effort. Yeah.
I could see we all had our phases. I think. How did you go goth goth? You just wore the all black clothes, maybe black nail
Well, it turns out
polish
that's
or
like a really nice
something,
excuse to wear
eyeliner.
makeup.
Oh, yeah. That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm sorry. As the term would come into being in the later 2000s, guy liner. Excuse you.
Is that a term? What? That's a term?
Yeah.
Guy liner.
Well, because anything that's seen as feminine on a dude has to be like othered somehow because it can't be the same thing. It can't be eyeliner. It has to be
Like
guy
guy
liner.
liner. Yeah, that's true.
It's got to be manscaping. It's got to be.
Yeah,
Genders are weird.
they are
I guess the
weird.
gender roles and expectations side to them are weird. There we go.
Yeah, they're unfortunate. What was another question I was gonna ask you? Do you have
Hang on.
any goals?
I guess there's like a second part of that. Goals or plans for the present or the future with your. Oh no, I
Well,
totally
that
do.
is like,
Right.
yeah. Do you? I'd love to hear about them.
Yeah, I mean, like I can talk a little bit about some silly project things. Like right now, I'm organizing an all VTuber D&D thing. I'm really excited for. Still some prep to do, and I've been a bit distracted because my internet's been on fire for the last couple of weeks, but we'll be starting pretty soon.
Yeah.
And then also like I guess this is a bit of a longer term goal, but like last year I accidentally came weirdly close to the partner requirements and I didn't notice.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to start an actual push for that.
Yeah, I feel like you're so
as I'm sure
close.
you know, partner doesn't really provide much. Like you don't get paid more, but
No,
like
you don't. I used to think
like
you
the
did,
idea of yeah, well, people used to. But I like the idea of like more emotes and being able to create like an actively inclusive stream team and perhaps even like maybe more of a voice on this platform. I think that sounds really, really nice. So that's a goal I have for sure. Like I think like I want to try to do it like more formal and like declare it and all of that stuff and try to like give it my all, which is always hard to plan for when your capacity is unpredictable. But my intent is to start it on my birthday in the start of June. And then see if we can make it by my next one. We'll see.
When's your birthday?
But otherwise, like, I don't know, my main goal is to keep making dorky, fun, silly, inclusive spaces into nonsense for people and to keep working within like the capacity that I do have, right? Like I don't know, I want to try to counter the growing anti-trans crap online by providing what shelter I can to like survive capitalism and create whatever the heck content is without like compromising my morals and ideals or getting burned out. Those are big goals.
Those are really good goals. I think we have somewhat similar goals in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, burnout is something that I think so many streamers that are near and dear to my heart have so much experience with.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it's something I really, I mean, I've seen some interviews even with folks who have experienced it. But like, I think it's something that I just really want to avoid. And I want to model like self-care and content creation and stuff, which is challenging because it's absolutely not what the algorithms or Twitch wants you to do.
Right. No, they want you to go the opposite and stream like 400 hours a month or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate.
But I can't do that. So I may as well try to make that okay.
I had one. That was the last question from the list, but I did have a couple other questions for you that have come up.
Secret bunny questions.
Well, first of all, I just want to
super
say
secret and Mario themed.
thank you for being here. This has been really amazing so far. And my guest, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm sure you all do. But if you don't, it's the lovely bunnyhearted at bunnyhearted. Let me do my... Can somebody type exclamation point guest for me? Because my keyboard is... I'm having a lot of problems.
Wait, hang on. I think
Alright,
I can
you do
legit
it?
exclamation mark guest myself. Oh my
Hey.
goodness. Can you Corvus beat me to it. I typed
No,
guess.
that's
I typed goose.
guess.
Goose.
All right.
Actually, I just typed Gus. I just typed
can't
G-U-S.
Gus.
I missed the E in there. Exclamation mark Gus. Let's go.
Snore. So yeah, this is my
Imagine
other
typing
friend.
snore.
Please go follow her if you haven't. They are the comfiest, funniest, sweetest person, and there's a reason why I still, to this point, call you my comfy soulmate. I mean it every time. I think you're amazing.
No, likewise.
And lovely.
You're
and
beautiful
welcoming.
being, and I adore your face.
A lot of people will come into my chat and be like, "Bunnyhearted, I love them. Their voice is so comfy. They're so nice." And I feel like I think one of the sweetest compliments. I don't know if I'm sure people have told you this, but when people are like, I fall asleep to your stream all the time, or like I come here when it's like
It's the coolest. That honestly, like that always feels like I'm nailing it when that happens. Like I know not every stream will be like that. Like sometimes it can be very chaotic. Even it can be hard to predict in VR, right? Because like like even earlier today, is I got overwhelmed because there were too many people talking around me and I couldn't understand what anyone was saying. And I was like, well, I'm calling, I'm going somewhere else. But sometimes streams, just because it's a social platform, can have people running around doing like high energy mayhem. But just hearing that there are folks who find like the space that I make so like calming and safe that they can have an app to it, it feels like such an honor. It's like, oh my gosh, yes, thank you.
Oh, you too have a relaxing voice, Elsie. Well, thank you.
It's true, it's true.
I wanted to open it up to some questions. I know I missed some in the chat earlier. I'm so sorry, but if anyone has any questions for the lovely bunny-hearted, please let me know in the chat. If not, that's totally fine too. Just want to open it up there if anyone has any questions. Bunny-hearted didn't drink water. Yeah, I forget to do that sometimes. I need to drink more water. Sorry, I'm going across your right there. I was gonna ask you a couple questions that are not too serious, but one of them was so I noticed, and I'm sorry, I haven't been watching DuckTales as much as I used to actually watch it quite a bit whenever you were on it. But I've noticed that you are no longer Millie. Well, you're still Millie, but you're animated Millie. When did you make that choice to
over on DuckTales? I'm still primarily an IRL person.
Oh, you are? I feel like at the last couple
for a lot
times
of the panels this weekend, I was VT remote, but for the games I'm in over there, I'm usually IRL mode.
Yeah, you are. You're just doing that for fun. It's not a permanent thing then?
I think for the panels that we just had on the weekend, I was severely chronically ill.
Oh,
I did not want to set up a green screen.
Don't look at me!
I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a VTuber for this one. Let's go. Yeah, I was having like a really rough flare up on that Friday. I was in tons of pain. I was very, very sick. And I was determined to make all those panels I was in. And I was like, yeah, I could like set up my green screen and all of that stuff and put on some like real concealer or
that's one of the best parts about VTubing is you don't have to put on makeup.
And also I feel like the DuckTales being sometimes like it when I appear in VTuber mode anyways because it's different.
Yeah, I like
there's
it.
one other VTuber on their space who's sometimes VTuber mode as well. And it shakes it up a bit. So.
Interesting.
I mean, it just looks like me anyways.
It does. Like it's not. Yeah, it's not very different. No, she actually looks like her model IRL. It's pretty amazing. Did you do that on purpose? Like when you were making your model?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a little bit what I was talking about before. Is that I'm trying to like make. Oh my gosh, I'm almost sneezing. I'm trying to make VR more immersive for me, right? So when I look at my reflection, I want it to feel like my reflection.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like sometimes. There can be a what is it? Funny, why are you so cool? Yeah, I was gonna ask you that, but
I learned it from you.
Oh. What was I getting at? I don't know. I'm so brain dead right now. Give it up for bunnyhearted.
Oh no.
One last question. Yeah. And thank you again for being here. This has been one of my favorite. I say this all the time, but I love spending time with you and.
Yeah, likewise. I feel so thankful that we put this together because I feel like I've had so few opportunities to get to hang out with you recently.
Same.
Like time is not allowed much in the way of overlap.
I know.
I know it's just nice.
I'm really just using these as an excuse to hang out with people I haven't seen in a while or that I want to get to know.
I mean, hey, I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you. This is a silly question. Not silly, but I've been asking my friends you seem to know a lot about technology.
Technorbajor.
And I don't actually know too much about like the future of VR or VR is going, but where do you think VR is going in like 10 years? Or is there anything in the immediate future and this is such a random question that you're excited about, like second generation VR or anything, haptic gloves or anything like that? What are you most excited about?
Sure. I mean, I feel like those are two different questions in some ways.
Sure, yeah.
So I feel like for the future of VR and where a lot of stuff is going, I mean, I feel like where a lot of the future of VR is going and where it's going to be driven by is going to be virtual sex. So I think that there will be a lot of haptic stuff coming in the future that's adjacent to that. And I'm excited about that. Like
That's pretty
The idea of
exciting.
haptic stuff seems fun to me as somebody who's looking for VR immersion. But I think there's going to be a lot of stuff sort of driven on that.
That makes
But I
sense.
also feel like we're going to probably have a pretty significant attempt for like a corporate takeover of these kind of spaces like VR chat. Like
Yeah.
a more corporate kind of version of it. Like the metaverse is sort of a bit of a mess, but like
Yeah.
I feel like there's probably in like a decade gonna be like a VR Facebook, and that will be like the main thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of like walled garden style ecosystem stuff for it. And I'm hopeful that that's going to be not the case, but I feel like VR chat right now feels a lot like the early internet. And
Yeah,
so
it's
do
so
so many of
nice
these kind of
still.
spaces, right? Where like we build our own worlds, we build our own outfits, we build our own communities and spaces and all of that stuff. But that's not something that people are profiting much from.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think that that's going to be different in a decade.
How do you think they're gonna monetize stuff like that in the future? I guess you can buy outfits, or you can like there'll be ads
Yeah,
in
almost certainly
VR or
Roblox
something.
style.
I have no idea what Roblox is. Sorry, I mean I
I think
do,
there's like
but
a yeah.
but
I
like
mean, I've
I
never played
do,
it
but
either,
like
but
I don't know
I
what you
know that
mean
it's
by
like
that
heavily
reference.
monetized. There's like
Yeah.
loot drop based outfit
Oh,
things and like a
okay,
whole in
yeah.
game
Oh
economy.
God,
Like,
how horrible would that be if you had to roll for outfits in VR or something? We'd all
but
be
can you
broke.
imagine?
Oh
And
God.
like in some ways, it certainly would make it more accessible, right? Because like right now, it's
Yeah.
quite the high bar to be able to like make a custom avatar in VR chat.
Yeah.
That is not something that everyone can do, and I think that that is certainly like something to work on. Um, and I just hope that it doesn't go in the direction of so many of these other massive social platforms for VR collaborative community spaces like this, because I think it's really nice that it's like our space. Even though VR Chat is a company that we're paying money to on occasion for VR Plus or whatever, like they're not spamming advertisements at us or giving us gacha mechanics for different toques or anything
Yeah.
like that, right? Like, can you imagine trying to be a VTuber in this space if you had to like
God,
purchase the parts to
yeah.
assemble a model that looked in the way that you wanted it to?
Yeah. That'd be
Differently than buying stuff on booth, I guess.
yeah, but it definitely is going that way probably. This is also, do you think we'll ever, it's such a random thought. Do you ever think we'll be able to upload our consciousness digitally?
I don't know.
Okay.
I feel it's much more likely that we'll have like a full dive style thing. That makes a
Wait,
lot
what do
more
you mean by
sense. Where
full
there's
dive?
like a full immersion kind of thing where like your nervous system's being interacted with or something. I think
That
that's a
is
much
more
lower bar than
likely.
uploading your
You're
consciousness just
entirely
being a cool
conscious.
brain in a jar. That feels much more likely.
That's so
But
interesting.
maybe not in my go at being alive. Who knows? And I mean, maybe our whole like global ecosystem economic situation's about to collapse anyway. So who knows what the hell's gonna happen in 10 years?
That's
Maybe we'll
true,
all be
yeah.
like sick
Banks and
ass,
stuff.
like solar punk plant obsessed communists. I'm here for it. But who knows?
I'm here for it too. I always like, this is an interesting question because everyone has so many different ideas and thoughts about the future.
The
The
future!
future. What was I about to ask you? Heck, it was an interesting one. No, my brain's not working today.
That's okay. I'm sleepy.
I'm sleepy too. I'm like,
Do you have any ideas what it was kind of about? We could try to reconstruct it.
I don't know.
Was it connected to stuff about the future? Was it
It was
connected
connected
to
about the future, and like VR and like, um, I don't know. I don't think it was super important, but if I remember it, I'll be like,
well,
I'll
I
DM you.
feel like any question that you ask is super
Oh,
important because
you're
it comes from
important.
you.
Oh man, now I wish I remembered. It was
Oh no, now I'm guilt tripping you by
no,
accident.
no, no, no. You're not at all. You're so lovely. Hi everybody. Hi Rosie. I feel like the egotistical rich people would get to upload their consciousness before we ever do. Yeah, that's actually a pretty common theory among, I guess they're called futurists, but a lot of people think when technology develops, yeah, the rich people are going to be able to like splice their genomes and stuff and become gods before us, and we're just going to fall behind.
We just gotta take out their ankles. Let's go. Bring it on.
That's true. Yeah, they're not so big and rich without their ankles, are they? Um, this has been so lovely. I think this has been one of my favorites ever, and I hope I
Aw,
wish you
you're
nothing
so
but the
lovely.
best, and I hope I'm rooting for you, and I have been noticing that you're growing, and I love to see it. I can't wait for you to get partner and feel the the joy for 1 second of what an
I mean, I don't think it's gonna
accomplishment.
change anything. I
It
just want to
doesn't
be able to stream
change
to you and have more
anything.
emotes.
That's literal. That is really
I'm like,
nice. Is the
yeah, that feels like a
emotes.
worthwhile, and it's nice to have a goal, right? Like
It
it gives
is. It's
me a goal to aim towards and to try to focus on.
yeah,
Like the
it's
stuff
a
towards
nice
that I need to do
milestone.
that I really struggle with, which is like, making content on other platforms, which feels really challenging right now when like
Yeah,
some of
it's
them
so
are on
hard to
fire
juggle
due to
so
weird
many.
musky
Oh
boys. Like,
yeah,
and that's always hard to
musky
balance
boys.
with the capacity that I have. But well, we'll see.
Yeah. Um. Can everyone give some hearts and some applause to Bunnyhearted? I'm gonna shout her out one more time with the exclamation
Hang on, I'm
point.
gonna do it too. I'm gonna be putting in a tubed bunny. Tube bunny. I'm sending hearts and applause to myself. Let's go.
Um. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much
This
for
has
being
been
on
wonderful.
here.
You're wonderful. Your
Um,
face is
Her
wonderful.
community has saved my life, to be honest. I love when I
Oh,
hear.
Cyber.
I
I really appreciate your
honestly,
part and your presence in that
they're
community.
so
You're so
nice,
wonderful.
and I feel like I've gotten to meet so many people, lovely people like Cyber, from your community, and everyone that I know has nothing but amazing things to say about you. You're truly
Wow.
a wonderful,
I've said it before
wonderful,
and I'll say
genuine
it
person.
again. It takes one to know one, Dorcas.
Dorcas, Dorcas, Dorcas.
Your ass is so dorky. Oh my goodness. I've never met anyone with as dorky an ass as you.
I'm not praising you. It called me a
Oh,
Dorcas. I'm gonna think about this at 4
Dorcas,
a.m.
bracket, affectionate.
You're wonderful, and I think I'm a lot more tired than I'm letting on. I've barely been sleeping, so I'm gonna get myself a snack and eat.
I was about to say, I hope that you get a snack. You get some good naps in if you can go nap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to be back in 40 minutes to see if I can stop by the Community Achievement Awards closing ceremony.
Oh wait, that's
thing
still
in,
happening.
like 40
Oh my
minutes.
god!
Yeah, I
By
think
the
it's
way,
happening.
congratulations on winning. I think
You
it's the
were like
Rising
the
Star Award.
second place
Oh,
nominee in that thing too.
yeah,
Congratulations to you and your
thank you.
dork ass.
But you're
present.
amazing, and I'm glad that I love seeing you get recognized more and more. I think you
No,
deserve
it was
it.
pretty cool. I don't know, I was stoked on
Yeah.
it. It was like, oh, neat.
Yeah,
Thumbs up for
thumbs up.
Spermid.
What? I thought you did. What? What? You're a hypocrite.
It's,
No, you're
it is a thing.
What? It's all
There is,
booze. This whole interview.
so, okay,
It's
okay,
just
10-second
pro-spermid
explanation.
propaganda.
I have this voice, and I also have a slightly different voice.
Yeah,
And there was a
yeah.
redeem to speak typically in a slightly more lewd voice, and
Yes, I
say
remember that.
whatever someone wants me to say within my comfort levels in terms of service and my desire to say it.
Yeah.
And one of them was the phrase, regular voice version, thumbs up for Spermit. He'll come for us all. And
Oh,
that
come
turned
on!
into a bit
Oh,
a bit of a clip with
needs to be-
Spermit saying
that
this
means
message
coming
endorsed
in
by
the
Spermit at
rude
the end.
way.
I'll put it on the TikTok, so I'll go TikTok it up so you can see it.
Oh my god, that would if you start doing spermid content on TikTok, I'm sure you'll blow up.
I doubt it. I doubt it. Get banned immediately. The Jim Henson family personally lights my shoes on fire.
That's true. Yeah, that conglomerate, the Jim Henson conglomerate there. Thank you again. This has been wonderful. You guys are amazing. Thank you for supporting. Everyone's for supporting Bunnyhearted. Please, 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 please go give her a
And thank you
follow.
everyone for supporting Oh Whoa Girls.
I am going
She's the
to,
best.
I think, so for everyone in my community, I will be back. I'm probably not going to be streaming this, but in about an hour and a half at 5 p.m. Central, we're going to have our community night. All of you are invited. Send me a friend request if you haven't. Is there anyone you know that you'd like to raid? I always ask the guest, but if not, I can
Sure,
choose
yeah.
someone.
Why don't I take a look and see who's on right now? Okay, this really beautiful being named Old Girls is
I
streaming right
can't
now. I
wait,
think
damn, they're full.
raiding her would be amazing. Like legit, one of my favorite people in the whole world to raid and trust my community with. Like straight up one of the sweetest beings ever. Is there any like particular genre folks you're looking for? Because like I know
I
lots
don't
of
know,
other like trans
someone.
femme. I can
I like
actually I see
trans
right now
femme.
there is
Like
a
Mika
trans
Bunny.
girl bunny
Mika
VTuber
Bunny?
who is streaming Zelda right now.
I was just
Yeah.
thinking about her because she adores you, and I got to meet her through you. And I
Mika's
think,
really sweet. I adore her
yeah, they're
too.
sweet. All right, yeah, let's read Mika. So thank you again, everyone. I'll be back just hanging out in VR about hour and a half. But I think she would really appreciate a raid coming from Banoi.
I mean, she's pretty it's like a double new attack action adventures. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
You're all so sweet and lovely, and thank
Wait,
you.
do you have
for-
like raid messages? Do we
I
do
usually
raid messages? What
well,
do
we do. My
say?
raid message is always blank is super sweet and adorable and cute and amazing raid is what my raid message.
That's
usually.
really cute.
That's every time. Yeah.
I've seen this.
Yours
I've witnessed
is
this
like
raid
I love sperm curving or something. I'm like what?
I think it's typically something about bunny buds.
Yeah, it's true. I love you.
Yeah.
love you. Thank you for the message the other day. Helped me with anxiety on the show. I hope your move has been going well. I don't know if you guys know Lydia Stardream. She's wonderful and becoming a good friend of mine. And I can't wait to see you. And I hope the move is going well. I love
really
you. I love you,
sweet.
Lear. Bong Master, thank you for always being so welcoming and so sweet and so supportive of Bunny. All these years, I feel like Bong Master has been behind scenes moderating it up and not your
Mongo was one of the
amazing.
first mod beams.
Kiro is
They're really
sweet.
sweet.
Corvus too. You're always so sweet. Whenever I interact with these Scaveni, Hero. I don't think I know them super well, but welcome in. And the rest Trinity. I love you. I will be back later, and you guys can just vibe with me. But I need to get some food. Thank you.
You're so
Jalen.
tall now. I feel like I gotta
know,
climb you
I'm
like
tall,
a
but my
tree.
body
Hang
is
on, we're
like-
just gonna go up here.
Okay.
Hi.
that works.
What are you doing up here in
I
space? Oh
don't
my gosh, you're like
know,
a
man.
hover,
I've
oh
got a
girls.
problem.
You got a problem with hovering in space? Oh no. Well, I'm really glad you've come forward about this space hovering problem. We're gonna find you the resources that you need.
The resources, thank you. I'm going to raid my friend Mika Bunny, our friend Mika Bunny that I got to meet through bunnyhearted. Thank you again. Please, by the way, I'm going to shout out bunnyhearted one last time. Please go follow her. She's amazing and sweet and kind and comforting.
You're
and really
amazing and
funny.
sweet. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
This has
you
been
for
such a
being
delight.
here. Oh, thank you for being here. Mika Bunny is super sweet and cute and adorable and amazing, right? You're so, look at that, like you. I like that you like that. Makes me feel better about because people have like a standard raid message or something. Are they? I don't know. Those are if you have my emotes. If you don't. I mean, that's if you don't have my emotes, but if you do, we can do some hearts, as we are wont to do. Thank you both for being
I'm trying
here.
to copy this
I'm
from
really,
VR. Hang on.
Yeah.
Can I do this? Can I do this with my terrible keyboard?
Okay. Yeah.
Control C. Can I do test paste? Bam. There we go. Oh my goodness.
They're really
Y'all spam that raid message. Mika's gonna be so excited to
She's
see all
gonna
of
be
you.
so
She's such a
excited.
sweetheart.
She really is. But I love you guys. I'll be back streaming tomorrow with an interview with my friend, the last seahorse, which I'm also very
Horsey
excited about.
interview. Oh, I can't wait for that. Horsey's amazing.
They're an amazing friend, and I've
Yay. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So I'll be back in a couple hours. Not streaming, probably not. It's vibing in VR. Please join me if you're free.
I think you.
Oh,
I
my
think
raid
you
message
made it.
already left
Yeah.
out in 10 seconds.